and we go.
Welcome to Game Changer Weekly. John, how are you doing this Tuesday? Hot as hell, Vegas evening.
Exactly. Big guy problems. Hot as hell over here too. I feel great tonight. We have a special guest with us. Dan Perch, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, doing great, guys. Doing great. It's an honor to be here with you. Normally, I'm listening through my headphones to you guys on the show. So this time,
awesome.
I'm actually inside the box. So it's incredible. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to it. This is fun. I guess cool that you listen to it. Like, I still get excited when I hear other people listen to us. It's still a crazy thing for me to see, and then have you on the show. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
So I'll be the first one to mention here that one of the first talents to ever reach out to us that was a GCW performer in any way was Dan Perch. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm a regular listener. I'm on the road quite a bit. I like to sit, listen to something, and you're like my road podcast kind of thing." And had a couple nice things to say, and that really meant a lot in a time where we were much smaller than we are today. So I really do appreciate it, because those kind words really did push us along in times where it was really rough sometimes. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. Hearing that perspective, the pleasure's all mine. You guys are part of the pro wrestling community, as we all are, and it takes a whole community to cover our sport and our performance from every aspect. So thank you for doing the shows that you guys do. It's entertaining.
Oh, thank you so much.
We always try to shout out the referees and treat you guys just as a talent, because we think you guys are just as important on the screen and everything that you guys do. So we're happy to have the talent on, the referees on, everybody. So yeah, we wanted to take this time to spotlight one of the referees again here.
Yeah, so that's going to go right into my intro for the night. So referees are commonly overlooked as in-ring performers. Outside of counting shoulders, they act as in-ring directors, as they also act as the direct line to the producer, their first aid when necessary. There's a lot of important jobs there, and it's a very protected position within wrestling still. There are thousands of referees in independent wrestling worldwide. We believe Dan Perch is one of the best to do it. He works for the largest independent wrestling company in the world at GCW. So tonight is our hope to shine light on the position of referee, how it works, and the value Perch brings to that position. I feel this is a rare interview for fans who really want to understand this aspect of the wrestling business better. We are fortunate to have Dan with us tonight, and so we're going to dig deep into the brain of a man whose job is seldom understood. Personally, I feel he's an intelligent, humble, and hard worker who was born for this business. He's also an avid learner and an international traveler. He carries a fantastic reputation as an honest and hard worker with tons of heart. He's also one of the nicest guys I know at GCW. So listeners and fans, our very own GCW referee, Dan Perch. So there you go, Dan. Welcome, brother.
Thank you for that incredible intro. That was amazing. It's fun to be along this journey in pro wrestling. And it all starts from following a dream, following a passion. And if you hear the passion that you put into that opening, that was incredible, touching. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, see, we're both from the Midwest, so we're gonna be out nice each other. I can already hear it. Yeah, thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead with the stock question everybody wants to know, and it's like every podcast asks. So, what company did you watch first, and who were your favorite wrestlers?
Oh man, that's awesome. Love thinking back to the original days. Growing up, I really came into pro wrestling in the mid to late 90s. So I was reading the magazines. Mom would go to the grocery store, or dad, and I'd be in the magazine aisle, just reading through anything I could find. I didn't care where it was, how it was. Seeing a picture of Undertaker and Big Boss Man from that WrestleMania way back when, that cage. I didn't know what pro wrestling was, but I knew I loved it.
Hmm.
But then I found it on a couple of stations on TV Monday night. People were talking about it at school. So I watched WCW and WWF. Was it USA and the TBS, the Super
CBS.
or TNT maybe?
Yeah,
Uh,
both.
they were 2 channels away, and I learned what the channel return button was between both shows, and yeah, so I loved WWF, WCW. We always knew about um, ECW, and backyard wrestling was always the lore. There were DVDs passing around, and you'd be lucky to get your hands on a copy. Um, but yeah, it was definitely that '90s era when I grew up and fell
A
in
good
love
age.
with wrestling.
I'm about to say I miss that feeling like of ECW, like, oh, you can finally like, oh, I gotta sneak in as a teenager and sneak into the other room, be able to watch this ECW pay-per-view so the parents don't see all the violence and cussing and everything like that. Those are the good old days, the good feelings there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's
The
nostalgic.
Attitude Era.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and
what
I-
favorite wrestlers did you have? I'm so sorry. I think we have a touch of delay too here somewhere. Super sorry.
Hey, that's wonderful. We'll make it through. The favorite wrestlers, I would say, in that era, uh, The Rock was the man. He was the coolest. When you would see him come out, cut a promo, he would have his glasses on, whether it was backstage or in the ring. He had us captivated the entire time. Stone Cold was big time at the time, and I always loved Triple H. He was
Mm-hmm.
a bad guy, and he filled in. He was a champion when you would not expect it, and I hated him so much that he was the first person that I came around to truly love, and there was nothing I could hate about him. And by 2001, I was big time fan. Then he was gone, and then he came back, and when he came back, I was hook, line, and sinker, favorite wrestler, and love following his story throughout life.
That's one of the
Man.
best returns in wrestling too.
Oh yeah, and I think MJF did somewhat of a return like that with the jean jacket. And
Jacket,
whatnot.
yep.
Yeah, that was. I'd have to say I started in the '80s, and I'd say that late '90s was definitely some peak wrestling entertainment. It was the Wild West at that time too. So, yeah, we were allowed to all watch it, but Mom really did not want to be in the room during half of it, because it was a little more racy at the time, and so. Right here, Frank Waldorf. Here we go. What up, boys and Perch? And
What up,
we
Frank?
have waiting for that Perch heel turn. Oh no. Is that something that, well, it could never say never, right?
We call it right down the middle.
Oh, Dirty Dan. I don't
Tommy Young
know.
ain't never heel turn.
I've seen him make some tough 3 calls there and stuff that he didn't want to make the 3 call on. So yeah, I can see Dan absolutely cover it right down the middle.
That's right. Actually, you had to do Adam's match there. That was really well done. Really
yeah,
well
that was
done.
awesome.
So
Art.
when Adam was on here, that's when we really dug in and found out that he had that entire, backyard company and everything. And we wondered how much that may have played into the fact that, oh shoot, we might be able to use him. I didn't know he was still training until he was talking about it. And damn, he's doing it. He's got to be proud.
Yeah, Adam is the man. From inside the ring to outside the ring, really underlines the basic fundamentals of pro wrestling and why it matters. From getting inside the ring, training, practicing anytime you can, whether it's 1-2 nights a week, a few nights a week, really just getting in touch with the ring and the ability that your body has with the ring. It really goes so far, whether it comes to wrestling, reffing, anything. And to see Adam put that on display and to prove why that is so important, just made me smile all the way through. It underlines the hard work that a guy like Adam puts in, and we all put in, and reinstates why it's important to have in ring awareness at all times.
So that was going to bring me to one of my questions. Like, when you started training, did you train to be a wrestler first? Because we've seen some wrestling moves from you, and then it just turned into a referee, or how did that end up working out?
Oh man, love hearing that question because it's a wild ride, and it all started with having um, the understanding of I want to learn everything in this business, from wrestling to reffing, to commentary, ring announcing, managing, photography, videography. I want to learn everything. So I went in with the open mind, knowing what's the best way to be a student of the business. And I found a training school taught by the Beer City Bruiser right here in Milwaukee, and in the Thumper's Den. And I started training the same way as any wrestler. And I knew that through training the same way as everybody else, I would be able to learn every role that I could, by paying hard work and treating people fairly, and you know, learning a set of skills that I'll always be able to take with me. So throughout the first several years, I would work and travel through the Midwest, Wisconsin fair shows and festival shows. I would ref, I would wrestle, ring announce, commentary on a few shows, some few fight TV shows. Yeah, I came into the business learning every aspect, and there was a few summers where I would wrestle under a mask and then ref the rest of the show, just to understand the role and what it takes about the psychology and how to understand a crowd from every aspect. And I can tell you from firsthand, learning every role during a show gives you a perspective that nobody else has, and it gives you more of a 360 view of the overall goal that we're looking to accomplish. So I always loved that mentality, and that's how it has been my school for the past several years. And I fell in love with the role of a referee, and I've been learning photography as well. So there's a lot of skills that we can learn, and when we treat this business like a school, we can really take a lot of classes, and we can
Very
take a
smart.
lot of notes.
No, you're right. And so I've noticed too, because you're in very good shape, but at the same time, you're highly cerebral. You like to really do a lot of thinking, a lot of learning. How much of your job in ring do you feel is physical versus mental?
Yeah,
That's a rough one, I know.
yeah, it's a fun view on the role, because when it comes to in ring, that can be broken down to a match time, or from when a bell rings to start a match, when a bell rings to end it. And during a day, that can be, or a show day, it can be maybe 10-20 minutes at a time, 3-4 matches at a time. So it could be an hour or two. And during that hour or two of in ring, um, being on, and whether it's in front of a camera or during a match, during a performance, during a show, um, it's really just relying on your instincts and training.
Hmm.
So it's as
Yeah.
much mental and physical as it is um, relying on the training and not thinking. Um, it's physical for sure,
Yeah.
and there is a lot of mental game that goes into it, but it's hard work and preparation that really puts you in position to rely on your instincts during those 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, during the time. So mentally, physically, and emotionally, you're giving it 110% at all aspects, burning at both ends.
Oh, I
I think
get
so.
that.
I was thinking, especially for a referee, like the mental aspect of just being able to get out of the way, like not being in the
Yep.
wrestler's way at all times. And then you have to kind of know all these wrestlers' matches that you're refereeing, their move sets and everything, so you can kind of know your positioning and what's next to come and stuff. And yeah, that refereeing job, especially as you said, like you're not out there for 10-20 minutes, you're out there for times 4 of that. So that's a lot of work out there for you.
Yeah, and we're constantly pushing ourselves, and you know uh, giving it everything we can to show, what we can, produce. And always raising the bar and setting the expectations of how much hard work we can give. There was one time during the Joey Janela spring break this last year in Philadelphia, and the matches lined up, Gringo Loco against Amazing Red, followed by Mance Warner and Effie in an I Quit match. And I was out there for both matches, and again, just relying on the instincts, relying on the training, the preparation. Remember getting done with Amazing Red and Gringo Loco, one of the more amazing matches I've ever seen. Seeing Gringo Loco work up to a veteran like Amazing Red, and the honor and respect that he showed him, and the honor and respect that Gringo received from Amazing Red in return. And that emotional roller coaster and physical roller coaster that they had. I remember finishing that match thinking to myself, I could use a water bottle and a microphone. and here was Ref Adam with a microphone and a water bottle. I chugged that water bottle and got ready for an I Quit match, and an incredible emotional roller coaster that was the story and the saga of Mance Warner and Effie. So, for an hour right there, it was, showing all the, preparation and training that we put into it to be able to tell two very different stories inside the ring over the course of a single show.
And not to mention your mental reset from going from this high of a finish back down to the low of starting another match and having to rethink how you do everything. Okay, this is a completely different match. I can't be counting like that anymore. This is not, and those little things were, some of the things I was asking about, those little, like, are you watching out for the camera or is the camera watching out for you as you're refereeing? Little things like that, or, the mental aspects that I wonder about, so.
Yeah. Oh, and it's a fascinating part of the business and the role. And when I mentioned that I, chugged that water bottle, that's the hard reset. That's taking the Nintendo game out of the system, blowing on it, putting it back in, popping it down. That's a full reset. And that's clearing one slate, taking that deep breath and staying calm and ready to start the next one, as if it's day one. That's one of my favorite parts about the role. And then coming back and, checking on the competitors, especially. So after both those ones are done, making sure everyone's doing all right. And that's, closure on the matter.
And see, we haven't even talked about the stuff you do outside of refereeing. Like, I've seen you out there before the shows in LA, scanning, getting the tickets and giving us the bracelets. Like, you're out there running water to the commentary team and everything. Like, you're out there busting your ass. Like, the whole show, you're always working. You're never, like, it seems like you never do have time off. You're always just on the whole show. And it's incredible to see how much you do, and not just you, but all the other referees and all the other talent too. They step up every once in a while and do stuff that normally you don't see at a wrestling show. And like, it's just crazy seeing, especially you. I've seen you literally from the beginning of the show to the end, just working nonstop. And it's insane to see the work ethic there.
Yeah. Thank you. It's such a fun role to play and an honor to be a part of the team. GCW, all of us referees, we are busting our butts from the moment we wake up. We handle a lot of the travel. We handle a lot of the logistics once we get to the building, between chairs, Post-it notes, nice handwritten notes, some smiley faces on there, little stars.
That's cool.
We hook up the seats. We touch base with a lot of the local talent and schools and wrestling students. Between Adam, Scarlett, myself, we make sure we can have everyone go to work, and we can handle the jobs that we need to do as well. And a lot of that comes down to the seating, making sure fans have everything they need. I like to handle the responsibilities of the door and wristbands when we travel on the road, from every different state, greeting fans at every door before the show. I like to welcome everybody and make sure everybody can come into the show with a nice smile on their face and forget about the day that got them there and just enjoy the people they're with. and enjoy wrestling. So us referees love making sure the fans can enjoy their show.
Well, Fire J Media just rolled in here real quick. Ivan said, "Can you tell Perch I miss him dearly and he's my favorite person?" This is the place for that kind of love. Hell yeah, guys.
Oh, Fire J, how about that video package? My goodness, every package, but the video we get to see every show before Game Changer Wrestling starts, man, that's awesome. It
And
gets me
Game Changer
hyped up.
Weekly.
And
Yeah,
Game
that
Changer
was
Weekly, I saw that right as the show started. It brought me right back. That's Fire J. That's the man right there.
Yeah, he was awesome. I was so lucky that he had time to be able to work on that intro for our show, because I think that was something big I've wondered for a longest time. So you can ask Don. I've been like, that's kind of one thing that was holding me back from even going live on YouTube, was getting a good intro. I wanted to look professional. I didn't want to just hop on with a black screen and the traditional 30-second intro with the vibes and stuff. I wanted to create a GCW like experience, and I think Ivan was a big step in helping us with also the production value, not just the GCW ones and all the cool videos he does on YouTube too, but this helping us out was incredible. He's awesome.
We scream professionalism.
Yeah, right. I know, right? Like, no, we ain't going live until we could get a video, but our audio does not have to work throughout the entire time.
Yeah, shit happens sometimes. That's how it is. Perch, how did you find GCW or vice versa?
Yeah, great question. GCW is such a great spot to learn as a student for pro wrestling. Such an amazing amount of talent from all over the world at all times. So, right when I started in the wrestling business, January of 2018, I started studying and finding different promotions and different places that I want to experience, and I want to work my way to meet the people there and find my way to learn. So through years of training and traveling on the road, eventually I had made my way to a collective in Indianapolis. I was working for Black Label Pro and freelance wrestling, and I got to meet everybody, help out, do the times at the table, really shake everybody's hand at GCW, and I was holding down the fort at the back door, doing security, running waters, doing all sorts of stuff that entire weekend, really meeting everybody, and from there I met up at the Tampa Bay Collective, and you know, welcomed myself to meet everybody again, and shook everyone's hand and handed out waters, did everything I could backstage, really just being a student of the game, and I came there looking to learn, and I always bring a notebook with me from day one, and in Tampa Bay they happened to need a referee, and I was ready, and I got the call to ref in Tampa. I think it was Effie's Big Gay Brunch. And yeah, I got to work that show in the afternoon. Remember Edith Surreal and Devon Monroe for one of the matches.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, Monroe's really been. Sorry, I squirrel. Go for it.
Oh yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
No, that may be my first GCW match of all times. And yeah, Devon Monroe, holy smokes, from Minnesota, he's on another level. Devon Monroe is on another level. They're an incredible performer all around. And yeah, I think that was my first GCW match, and I'd worked several matches throughout the weekend. Oh, there was also El Hijo de Canis Lupus against Gabriel Sky as well in that match, on the Acid Cup Day 2. So that was my first mix with GCW, and then I started hopping on the Midwest tours, Detroit, Chicago,
Hitting them train. Toot toot. It's on.
yeah.
Perch went regional.
We started hitting the road. Mm-hmm.
Nice. I'm just let me see here. It's GZDR4EV. So whatever it is, forever. Ask Perch. Does Perch go over signals with wrestlers before a match so they can let him know they are hurting during a match, or does he play it by ear? Because if someone gets a concussion, they won't be able to signal. Could you kind of fill him in on how that works, if possible?
Yeah, it's very important that we get to know all the performers, from the wrestlers to the referees. We need to be a tight-knit crew, and it's more than just showing up and doing your job and leaving, or just being here and gone. No, we get to know these people. We travel with them on the road, in the locker rooms, all across the world. So really developing a rapport with everybody is more pivotal than people would ever expect. Something that gets lost is the hard work and dedication and hours upon hours to the craft that get put in. And a lot of that goes into building a rapport and getting to know people, and knowing tendencies and in-ring styles and abilities, and whether it's insecurities or weaker points when it comes to physicality. We're able to be aware of that stuff. So verbal, nonverbal, all of the communication styles, we're well practiced in, and it's time and time again, rep after rep after rep, to develop. So really getting to know everybody involved with the show, and the matches that you're involved in, is so important. So there's a lot more behind the scenes that goes into, you know, again, being prepared in the moment when any number of instances can come up.
And when you do, like you were saying, when you spend time with each other, like I would say around Brant right here on screen, if he was not feeling well, I know him enough to know that he's not looking at me right, or he's, his eyes are not where they normally are, or his head is down more than normal, and or he's not focusing on me at all and he's just in the clouds somewhere. You can kind of tell that fish out of water look and whatnot.
Oh yeah, and we're watching these matches. We're studying. We're watching ringside. Watch any one of us referees, between Adam, Scarlett, myself, Chad, Recon, anyone. We're all watching either ringside, paying attention, studying, knowing everybody's tendencies and styles, and how they work inside the ring. And when we're backstage as well, we're watching the matches. I go over and I stay at Rep Adams' house once in a while when I'm on the East Coast, and we're watching the show back that night, watching and seeing any little differences, and studying. So yeah, we put in lots and lots of hours understanding the people that we're working with, in preparation and in post game, learnings.
Huh. So how nervous were you in front of the owner of a company who was previously a referee? That's right. That's kind of tricky, because you're like, okay, this guy really knows what he's doing here. And then here I am getting a paycheck from a referee, a fellow referee. He's got the head on him for it. So yeah. Did you have any nerves on that one? And how long did it take you to shake any of that nervousness?
I think it's very wise to have someone as a referee in a position of running a company, because he sees the business from so many different ways. And there's a lot of times pro wrestling comes down to just the small things, but it's a lot of the little things that count. And I knew I was in good hands right away when I came to GCW, going back to seeing the way Brett worked as a referee, in paving the road for referees and students of the game like myself. He really helped raise the bar and change the game. So I wouldn't say I was nervous coming in, but I knew that we had someone who was looking out for the referees from the technical side of things. If there's something that isn't right with the match, he'll tell you. And it made me feel good knowing that, hey, if I'm not doing something right, I'm going to get called out and I'm going to adjust. That's the guidance I'm looking for. That's the wisdom I'm looking for as well. So I always want to be surrounded by someone who knows more, and especially from the referee position. I was intrigued from the beginning, and love hearing tips
I was going to say, has he given you any decent tips about doing any jobs here or there?
Absolutely. Just a few things here and there. And when you stop and think about it, it's always about giving the fans a better, enhanced, time. So whether it's visibly or audibly, it all comes back to how can we make the fans, enjoy it more.
So I just had a question, kind of going back to that, the question when someone's hurt and everything. I kind of always have like these theory questions that kind of together. Like, what's been your scariest moment as a referee in GCW? What's also been like your funniest moment in the ring, and also the holy shit moment where you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening.
Oh man, scary moments happen in a heightened environment, like death matches or hardcore matches. There's been several matches where an injury occurs and we've had to call it early, and those matches have taken place. It's a nasty one in Detroit several years ago at the Knights of Columbus. Ended up having to get that
Hoodfoot, right?
Hoodfoot and get him to safety. And
Wait, were you referee for that one or no?
Ringside.
I think Adam was. Yeah, Adam was referee.
Oh
for
my
that one.
gosh. Oh,
Yep.
that. Yeah. Woof.
I just remember him like trying to fight. He's fighting Hoodfoot off, and Hoodfoot's still trying to go. He's like, "No, like we can't go." Like he's like trying to protect him there.
Yes, that's where in the moment, certain moments, can overwrite the wrestling match. And when it comes to a moment, hey, let's be real here for a second. Let's get you out of here. That's so important. So staying calm in those moments goes such a long ways, and taking control of the situation. So it was scary. However, we handled things right, and yeah, we're able to get everyone to where they needed to be safely and attended to with medical facility.
Wow.
So a scary moment. They happen once in a while though, but you learn from them every single time. And whether you're involved in it or not, there's always something to learn, and you take it with you going forward. And it really just goes to show how much of a blessing it is to be, at every show day that we get to celebrate. And another scary moment, I would say, not scary as much, but just had to be there in the moment. And that was when the war games take place. 1, 2, 3, not scary moment, but it's like the most intense thriller. Again, not scary, but like you're looking at a haunted house and we're about to rock that thing. There's 10, 12 people. That's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. But we're all going into there, and we're all handling our jobs, and we're all getting our business accomplished, and we're going to come out alive. So it's like it's not the absence of fear, but it's settling up and looking right at it and handling it anyways. And coming out of that is always an incredible experience. So yeah, those war games matches, holy smokes, love them for every second that they're worth. And yeah, that's an intense moment.
Wow.
So that kind of fits that intense, as well as a little bit of the scare, but the good kind of scare, the thrills you want. Oh yeah, please, John.
Oh no, I was getting ready to go on to another question, but I saw you were getting ready to say something, and I don't want to cut you off because I know you had a train of thought there. Like I said, I'm a squirrel guy.
Oh yeah.
So go right ahead.
And I would
please
say,
expand.
Funny moments that happen. Humor is great in pro wrestling, whether it's referees playing for the straight man or getting in on the humor. There's always unique perspectives to take looking at the art of pro wrestling. On any given day, you can say pro wrestling is this or pro wrestling is that. But what it all comes down to is pro wrestling is whatever you want it to be.
Nice.
And we get to have fun with the art, and there's no fun moments and funny moments than I would say some Yoshihiko matches. uh, just to look at it as a fan, I can't help but have a smile and laugh hysterically the entire time. And being in there, it's nothing changes from any regular match. It's legitimate, as intense as it would be. You're working with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and against Mike Bailey. I mean,
Yeah.
you're in there with intense pro wrestlers. But then as we watch our matches back, um, watching some matches with Yoshihiko, I've never laughed so hard in my life, from just the performance and the pro wrestling that goes on. It's incredible. I never knew what pro wrestling was before, learning
Yoshiko.
and studying Yoshihiko matches.
But like, there's so many different styles Yoshihiko matches. Like, we've had Cole, we've had Speedball, we've had the DDT people. We get to see different styles and like what the competitors go and do with Yoshihiko. And it's always fun to see what they decide to pull out during that match and see how they carry. Like, Speedball ended up turning into a Will Ospreay Kenny Omega match, and like that was something I never thought that could happen with Yoshihiko. It's like it's just incredible seeing all the cool stuff that they do with it. And as you said, it's the art and it's the entertainment, and seeing the different variations of it throughout GCW. Just what I've seen with Yoshihiko has been incredible to see.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the time Yoshihiko got color against Mike Bailey, how scared.
That was fun.
Oh, I never thought I'd see the day, honestly.
Watch that one back. Communication with me and Yoshihiko was still there.
Spot
Still
on.
right. Mhm.
I saw the
Still
eye
responsible.
contact the whole time. It was all there. Is it okay? Is it okay? I saw him asking. It was cool.
You good? You good?
Going back to Brett for a second. I was just wondering, have you ever went and studied any of his tapes?
Absolutely.
Yes. And
Yes.
is there anything you picked up off of him?
Yeah. Yep. Going back and watching some death matches in particular, I've seen him come in, whether someone's wielding a a weed whacker or a sawzall or something. Sometimes you just got to get out of the way. Just get out. Whether
Yeah.
it's ducking in the bottom turnbuckle or hopping up around there, you just got to get out of the way. Sometimes you're in there to do your job and get in, get out. And when it's time to get out, just get out and save yourself.
What are you currently focusing on improving right now? I mean, there's always constant improvement. Do you have one thing that you're working on, especially that, what's that one thing you're polishing right now this week?
Yeah, I always love setting goals and working on, what do I want to improve on? And from week to week, again, I carry a notebook with me everywhere, every show I've ever written or worked. Little notes and tips and tricks that I can pick up along the way, and always working on developing something. Currently, right now, always working on developing the balls or eyes on the balls of your feet. If you have eyes on your feet, you can walk the ring blindfolded. So, whether it's a ring I've worked before or in there for the first time, really having that awareness to walk a ring and feel it without even having to look. So always working on developing eyes on the bottom of the feet.
I kind of want to piggyback off there because we always talk about the wrestlers when sometimes we see some of these venues that got the shorter rings instead of the big old rings as well that we've seen. Like, as a referee, like, how hard is that? As you said, like, doing it blindfolded as a referee, how hard is it to adjust to the ring sizes from each show?
Unbelievable. It was like maybe a 16-foot ring for one of the deathmatch tournaments we've had most recently, maybe the TOS 9. And I remember Scarlett being in there and the tubes were hanging from the ceiling. It was the smallest I've ever seen a ring look in my life. But we're able to make the adjustments. Truly comes down to being professional, and we're all able to handle those kind of adjustments and perform our job under any kind of environment.
I think one of the smallest rings that I've ever seen that we've discussed on the show was actually I think it was the Milwaukee show when Jordan went against Blake Christian and John Wayne Murdoch and Mance Warner. Like that ring looked tiny because like
Yeah.
Jordan and Blake, like it looked like they were just like too big for the ring or too fast. They kind of like it was just they made the adjustment. You could see them making the adjustments as on the fly, but it's just so incredible seeing like the difference of what the size of a ring makes to the wrestlers, and then hearing it from the referees. That's something I never thought about until you just brought it up. That's like light bulb.
Yeah. Shout out to La Pica Lounge Car 3.
That's what it is. La Pica Lounge.
down
I gotta remember
Uh-oh.
that one.
That's where you were last arrested, Perch. Is that what the place was called? La Pica Pica for Perch, huh?
clean record. But La Pica Lounge, been there many times. One of my first ever arenas I've ever worked out for Dysfunction in Milwaukee. Amazing times. It doesn't fit many, and that ring is so bad. But it's one of the first I started out on. The boards were horrible. They really moved around. Remember during that GCW show, I had to make some adjustments on it.
Yeah, but I say, didn't one of the ring like come up at like near the corners and
on that show? I was the local, so I was the guy who fixed it. Oh, I loved it. Loved every second of it, though. I remember my dad, my uncle were there, and cousin. And yeah, that was so cool. Manser and Murdoch came out around them. They were like, "This is the coolest thing we've ever seen in our life."
And they had like a bloodbath of a match. And then we got like the Macisos had like a crazy like fire spot during that match. Like I remember that show just specifically, like in my mind had no reason, just looking at the venue and the size of the crowd, even though I know we didn't get the full size of the crowd because it went backwards the other way on the hard cam. But like seeing how great and crazy that show was for such a small venue and the crowd was amazing. Like that show will always in my mind stick out to me just because of like this, like that just kind of shows like some of these like shows that GCW puts on, like with the smaller crowds, they go just as big and hard as they would 1,000-person crowd. And it just shows you never know what to expect at a GCW show. So don't like come in there with any preconceived notions. Just keep your mind open because you're going to see some craziness, and that venue sticks out in my mind forever. I got to remember that name though, the Pica Lounge.
I just like saying Pika Pika.
It was such a good time. Shout out to RIP Piss Jug Mike. He put out that fire that the Macisos used. Used fire, took out Dysfunction, and Eric Dillinger, and Piss Jug Mike ended up putting out that fire with the jug.
Jeez.
Even more legendary that show was.
Wow.
I do want to mention some listeners here. Great one. He mentioned the 120-degree record highs here in Vegas. Then earlier, like 20 minutes ago, he said, speaking of heat waves, Tampa Collective sure was something. And also Jeffrey Young saying, "Hey y'all, what's up, Jeffrey?
What up, Jeffrey?"
All right, Perch. So, favorite venue. What is your favorite venue? Is it?
How you gonna take that question from me, John?
Oh, is it? Okay, you asked.
What is it? That's my question for everybody.
No, okay. Yeah.
I'm just telling you a food question later.
Okay, you can do that. Actually, I have a food question coming up. We'll talk about that. Venue, man. Where are you at worldwide? Venue. What do you like to go to?
There's one venue in mind, Top Dog. Number one, everything else compares to it. But I want to hear what your guys are first. What's your favorite show to see through, whether it's through the TV or through the screen? I know you guys like to rock it at the UCC especially, but what would you say your favorite venue is for GCW?
Ooh, man, like I love the UK one. You got the toilets in the background. Like that just always sticks out to me as like a cool venue.
The TNT, the hangar.
Yeah, the hangar. The Opera Hall always stands out in Talia Hall. Chicago has some Chicago has got good venues. That Talia Hall always sticks out. Kind of reminds me of like always a mini Hammer sign, as I always call it. Those are kind of the two that always stick out in my mind when I'm watching on TV. Like I'll probably think of some more later, but like because I'm a big venue person, like just when I see the venue, I'm like, oh, like the memories just flow right in my mind of their past shows and everything else.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that kind of stick out in my head.
Yeah, Hangar 34 fans are right up on you. It's incredible. They pack that place in, and they've all got that vibe. The UK, they're there having a wild party. Show starts at like 8 or 9 at night. They're just waking up. That's like morning to them. They're partying all through the night. So that's just starting it off. And then Talia Hall at the balcony there is so cool. Incredible. Yeah. I love seeing it from every angle. The stage is huge. Big ramp. It used to be a ramp, and now it's a set of stairs. Thankful for the stairs going from the stage down. But yeah, that venue is wonderful. A lot of family and friends that come when we have shows there.
I
John,
don't
what's
have
yours,
a
dude?
favorite venue. I'm not gonna lie. I fell in love first at GCW at the Silver Nugget in Las Vegas, and of course that's a historic venue because of deathmatch wrestling. Um, but I really do love the UCC because the golden glow, the beautiful yellow golden glow when you go in there. Um, it has great lighting. It has that beautiful center piece there. I don't even know what to call it. I always say chandelier, but I don't really know what to call that middle area. It's beautiful. But I really think when it comes down to it, the fans make the venue, because if it's about energy, it's coming from the fans more than anything. I think where the venue can help would be like bare walls and ceilings so that the sound can reverberate better. Um, that was a really long answer. I'll say the UCC.
Oh,
I
I love
forgot the
it.
carousel room, man. I can't believe I totally spaced that one out because it's like we haven't
I
been there in a while. Like I totally spaced that one. That's obviously
I
my
I
number
can't.
one there.
That's my number one, but I don't. It's not in play, so it's
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
color.
Oh, those are great though. And the UCC with the gold just shines. Gold,
The
a little
blue
bit
and
of
gold,
blue
yeah.
sometimes. Wonderful seating, big open arena, packed crowds every time. That's a big place, and they pack it. You can hardly walk in. It's so dense. Uh, Fun matches the entire time. That Cali crowd is great.
Oh
You never
yeah.
know the characters you're gonna
Uh-huh.
see. I love seeing you guys too, especially good homies out there on the West Coast.
We try so hard. We love, I mean, we really do try to do everything we can to make it a trip out there, because like you guys are, it's, I get to see Bryn, I get to see everybody a little more. And it's like, I don't know, it's a love fest. But what's crazy that no one thinks about is that if we say anything negative or bad, we've got to show up face to face and say hello to those people. So, there's a dimension to this job that some people don't think about sometimes. But just being together, brotherhood in the same room is always wonderful,
Yeah,
honestly.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, and I would say my favorite venue, a carousel room especially too. So much fun. The way it shined, the colors, the lights, the ring set up so nicely. It felt like it was on a little bit of a platform. It was wonderful. I remember when it was Team Canada versus Team USA, and Mike Bailey turned heel, and they all stormed out of that place. It was crazy. I think there was blood on the walls. Uh, but yeah, favorite venue. Hands down, Harpo's Detroit.
I knew it. I knew it. I had a feeling. Adam mentioned that you were just a huge fan of Harpo's. What is it? Is it
Yeah.
the
I want to hear
disco?
that.
Is it the vibe? What do you got?
Wow, there is so much about Harpo's. There's so much personality to it. It's an old rock and roll club. A lot of the venues we play uh, are nightclubs, so they may have bands or uh, musicians that have played there before. Like the Valleydale Ballroom in Columbus was like the Rat Pack played there, and all the big bands, Duke Ellington and amazing Gene Krupa, the drummer. So I love seeing the history of our venues. So Harpo's in Detroit, the history there is all 80s hard rock, you know, music, metal,
Yeah.
and music
John
that my
covered it on one of the Harpo show, like before the rundown of the intro. He was naming all the names and all the cool, like the big names and stars that used to play at Harpo's before we were there.
yeah, I remember that. That one got me hyped during a day. Probably ran Tuesday afternoon or something. I was listening. But yeah, the bands that have played there, the history that's inside those walls is incredible. The atmosphere is wonderful. It is hotter than hot in the summer, and it is colder than cold in the wintertime. It's even
Really?
colder in there than it is outside sometimes in the wintertime. And
Oh, wow.
we couldn't love it even more. That
Hmm.
place has got such a magical charm. The Detroit fans show up every time. Doing tickets at the front door there, they've got good security, people who've been there for years, who know how to run that place. And not just that venue, but they know how to run the whole block because things break down sometimes in Detroit. But when you stay close to the crew, everything is safe and sound. And we have a rockin' show every time at Harpo's. The views are incredible. The fans are amazing. The ring, Mm,
It's still standing.
it's still standing and it's there
Yeah.
every time.
Right.
I'd like to see a
Right.
nice canvas with a GCW logo on there. That would be really cool. But it's always such a good time. Students of the area and people who help out are always, great and right there on hand at all times. We've had the scaffolding match there, Briscoes against SGC. Holy smokes,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
That match lives on in legendary. I remember looking up at that scaffolding, seeing them about to go. Wow.
Yeah.
I like
Goosebumps.
saying, like, I really like the first couple shows. They were like really focused and showcase the floor, the disco floor there. But I feel like the last couple of times we haven't really gotten action out there to showcase this. Hopefully next time we go out there, we get like a little brawl just on the disco area to showcase that again.
I'm a 70s kid. We do need a brawl on the disco.
Yeah. The disco is a nice platform too. It's fun to be up on there, and it gives you a little elevation to watch the show. When you can watch it over that balcony, oh, it's so much fun. We had a show there where Jeff Hardy played a concert afterwards. So all of us, afterwards, were just talking about the show and learning and taking it all in while traveling on the road. So yeah, Harpo's in Detroit always have a special place for that for the U.S. But I would say even globally, Cork and Hall
I
was
was about to ask you about your
one of
Japan
the
trips. Yeah.
coolest places I've ever been in my life. I've been there a handful of times. Shinkiba First Ring, wonderful,
Yes.
great arena, and so clean and organized. Small, but Cork and Hall is a little bit bigger, and that view, greeting fans at the door at Cork and Hall is incredible. You see
Yeah.
those stairs going right up to the Tokyo Dome, and it's all lit up with that neon green, and the floor is like patterned where when you roll your roller bags over it, you hear it click clack click clack,
Huh.
and it's just larger than life as you walk up around it, and then you go down those stairs right to the Cork and Hall venue, and right in and up the elevator, uh, right to the venue, and there's a few hallways just lined with posters, new ones, old ones, uh, shows you've never even heard of with wrestlers you've never seen, wrestlers you may have seen 20 years ago, but they look 20 years older.
Or more.
Title belts on the wall, and then you walk into that arena, and you see that wood floor and the orange seats. Wow.
That was a nostalgia moment for me watching the first entrances come out of Cork and Hall. They just threw me right back to like my New Year's Dash moments and watching all the cool New Year's stuff that New Japan always did at Cork and Hall. Like that just it's like Hammerstein. When I was actually at Hammerstein, just like, whoa, this was the ECW. Like you just feel the nostalgia and like the history, like literally consume you. And that's for me, that was the show that consumed me through the video, just seeing all the history in Cork and Hall. Now GCW.
Oh no. We just lost a dude for a minute here. Let me do something real quick. Oh, there we go.
My bad.
Add him in.
Yep.
Boom. There we
What
go.
happened there?
But yeah, Cork and Hall, the history. Remember, before we went for the first time, I watched some Terry and Dory Funk, the Funk Brothers.
Ooh.
One of my biggest inspirations in pro wrestling. And just watching them and how they took ownership in that arena and, came in with such confidence and knowing that they were there for a job. And much like the next day, I was about to be there for a job. And yeah, I enjoy that arena very much. Good apple juice there too. Vending machines.
Hold on.
Stuff. I like the apple juice.
Okay, we were going to talk about Japan because first of all, lately I've been watching all the cool things you can get in like vending machines over in Japan and like how all the cool food at 7-Eleven is there versus our 7-Elevens and stuff. So I was going to ask you culturally, like food wise over there, where do you like to frequent? What have you fallen in love with any new foods? Like, let's just talk about your experience in Japan because that's so awesome. It's a goal for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic. It's something that doesn't come up all the time in day-to-day life, but it's wonderful to think about, and it's such a blessing to have the opportunity to travel around the world and to have a job like pro wrestling, and it's the most fun thing in the world, and we get to experience different cultures, different nationalities, different people and their perspectives. Really shows us how together we really are and how similar. So going to a place like Japan, the other side of the world, you'll never be far away from home when you're there. But to feel comfortable, knowing
Yeah.
that we're here for pro wrestling, we love the same things. The people here are so kind. It goes a long ways. And
Are you a sushi guy?
I tried sushi the first time.
Uh-oh.
I went out with Sayozawa and Yoshi, and took me to sushi. Never had it before in my life, and that's the first and only time I'll have sushi.
Ah.
Like rice, it was incredible, I'm sure, but yeah, not for me. I much prefer cooked food.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a Mr. Danger Steakhouse, #1.
Yeah.
I could eat steak and rice all day, every day. Noodles as well. Ramen is so good out there. My God, you can find good ramen. But yeah, I would take steak and rice every day. And Mr. Danger, #1. And the spicy soup from Mr. Danger is so good. It clears out the sinuses, especially after a death match, show or
Spooky
big
dust.
match. Yeah, it's intense. That spicy soup really does clear out the sinuses and helps for recovery. So one of my favorite places for the benefit and the taste. Billy the Kid, great place, great steak. They give you a coffee afterwards too, and I like plain coffee, just nothing in it. Give me just straight hot coffee. and,
Yeah.
and yeah, Billy the Kid will give you a nice cup of coffee afterwards. Really enjoyable. Um, the pepper lunch is as good as it gets. Wow, that'd be
Really?
like if Jimmy John's served steak and rice and corn and green beans. Uh, yeah, pepper lunch is as good as it gets. You order your food and they give it to you and it's still cooking. You're like, man, this isn't even cooked, but
Wow.
it's still on the plate right in front of you. So you have to doctor it up a little bit yourself.
What?
I'm
So
getting hungry
good.
now.
Yeah, you doctor it up. The peppered rice with the steak, so
Uh-huh.
it's all kind of a little bit raw looking, maybe an egg on the side, but you put it all together and you mix it, and it all cooks right in front of your face.
Shut up.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta have that now. You got me on the egg
no,
part. I was like, whoa, that's something I didn't think about, and I would absolutely try that.
yeah. Like, how about a little scrambled egg in the midst of it? Sure, I'll take one.
Steak and yeah, that sounds good.
So I want to go back to in-ring in Japan when it comes to your position. You've found that the way phrasing and pacing is a little different in Japanese wrestling. Do you feel you had to make any adjustments to your style when you were in ring with the wrestlers?
Yeah, that's comes down to different styles of pro wrestling, and we all view a story a different way, and the fans view it differently. Um, when GCW goes to Japan, they want us to be us, and they want GCW to be GCW. So if it comes down to any style, um, we stay true to who we are,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and we give it everything we've got. However, uh, I do try to learn the language with everybody who I work with. So I've picked the brain. Mao has been a big help. He's taught me a good amount of Japanese, and I'm able to use it inside the ring. So when using Japanese inside the ring, able to communicate a little bit with the wrestlers in ring to make them feel a little bit more comfortable. And if the wrestlers feel comfortable, that way the fans are getting the best experience they can.
Wow. Yeah, I was wondering if you had to be more animated, as Japanese fans like a little more drama and flair with some of their performances. So,
Sure, really comes down to the match, in front of us, like you mentioned before, whatever match and story we're looking for, and whatever is taking place, whatever contest we have.
so what is the hardest match that you've had to work and why?
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Which one? Just, you know what I mean? I mean, your hardest match may be the ones you just had the most nerves on when you first got in the ring. So I don't know what really makes it for you, but I just felt that was somewhat of a challenging question where you went, oh boy, this is a rough one. I figured maybe a death match. I don't know.
Yeah. One match in particular that brings all of the ranges of emotions, and it was tough, and it was real, and it was, it took some getting used to, and it took some ironing out and making mistakes in the middle of the match, and coming through. And by the end of it, the boat took on some water. It was a little bit rocky, but at the end, it was delivered with a nice big bow and a cherry on top, and beautiful pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And that was at the Collective this year in Philadelphia for Joey Janela Clusterfuck.
Yeah.
That match had absolutely everything to it. The match right before it, match one, was the most outrageous, crazy spectacle of all time, mixed with part two. If that whole show was a VHS, there'd be one VHS, and then the second VHS was the big cluster match.
Yep.
So that cluster was wild. Ref Scarlett and myself were out there. Ref Kago, I think Shoes was there. We had Recon. We had so many refs on hand, and I didn't get out there until midway. Maybe 10 minutes in, because dealing with everything that was going on in between matches, and 100 people in the back. But
Jeez.
eventually, we made it out there. Scarlett and I captained that match as referees. Between the both of us, we really let the match take place, and it was certainly lived up to its namesake, and it was a cluster in the most beautiful way, and we accepted it. Instead of fighting it, we rolled with it, and we got the hang of it. And before you knew it, we enjoyed that match more than anything. But it took some getting used to. Holy smokes, was that a difficult one? But again, by the quarter of the way through, midway through, by the end of it, that match had a life of its own, and what happened was pure magic. You couldn't even draw it up if you had tried. Pure magic, and yeah, that match had it all, including some scary and wild and rowdy parts.
I said that since when we did that podcast covering it, I said that was like the most beautiful way to end like that collective weekend. Like it leaves everybody with a smile on their face. They all had fun, but as you said, it had everything. It had the legends at the beginning, like Shane Douglas, and in there working forever. And then you got the singing, and then you got the Viva Van and Man Like Therese spot, and then it just had everything to make, as you said, fans just smile. And I thought that was like wonderful. Like that was the most beautiful cluster effort. I loved it. You were talking about like all those 100 people in the back, though. I want to hear more about that. Like, what is that like, having all those people ready at right there in Gorilla or wherever you want to call it to get out for the clusterfuck? Like having all those people and all those minds at the same time, at the same place, right there, right before they go out. What was that like? I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, so that is such a fascinating side, and Ref Scarlett and myself were really in charge of that role. However, when the first match took place, I sat out ringside and tended to the match, and Scarlett was able to handle everything in back. So you guys had to hear her perspective on that, because I didn't get to see it, and she handled things amazingly. And by the time we handled things in during the match, and got everyone to the back safe and sound, everyone in the back was ready to go. So it was such a fascinating time to be a part of the team, and full attention we spent outside in the ring during that match, and everything else was going on behind the scenes. So I couldn't tell you what was going on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
When we get Scarlett on, I'm definitely have to ask that question because that like piqued my interest. And I'm like, see Sane Juggless right around Microman, right around American Giant. Like, I want to hear all those stories. Like, what was that like?
our idea is still to have a referee roundtable eventually, but we wanted to at least let each person come on and have their time because you're all so awesome, and it only makes sense to give each of you a spotlight, because I don't feel we would get this much of you out of you with 3 or 4 other people in the room. So, we have to have the real thing is the best way to put it. Also, a great one here mentioned. He said, yeah, I got to see a bit of the music between the notes in front of the clusterfuck. The refs and a lot of the Iron Man in the match did so much you couldn't even comprehend. So fans do see it. Fans definitely see that.
Yeah, so much communication, and no matter what, from day one when you enter as a student of pro wrestling, comes down to safety, and a whole lot of stuff happens in the ring, out of the ring, but safety is always in the back of the mind. So making sure communication is on key, and we're able to get everybody to safety. And when everyone's safe, then we're all having fun, and the crowd's having a good time. That's when it's the best. So yeah, all the moving parts that we're able to do, whether it's the commission gentleman or the doctor in Philadelphia, and making sure that he's at bay and everything's going well there. Us referees sitting ringside with him, making sure he knows everything that's going on as he's about to
heard,
jump and step right in the middle of that ring.
You've heard some stories on that one there.
But no, it's coming down, or it comes down to taking care of one another, and we're all looking out for one another as a team and each other's best interest. So whether it comes to ringside or making sure that the fans are safe, there's a brawl in the crowd, or that competitors are safe if there's anything that happens in the ring. So getting everybody tended to is number one.
Has your have your hand or fingers ever gone numb from pounding the mat when counting?
Yeah, sometimes, especially different environments that we're in. At GCW, you never know where a match is going to be or where it'll take place. Just a few weeks ago or a month or two ago, there was a street fight in New York City, and Joey Janela, Effie, Jimmy Lloyd. That was a crazy, crazy match. I had to count a pinfall on the side of a brick wall at one point.
Yep.
Sometimes you count a fall on a chair or a door, stop sign, anything, whatever's there for environment. So, yeah, I've definitely hit the hand on stuff before, and it has gone numb, or I haven't felt it. Sometimes you hit a thumbtack going down.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened in years. We take again right precaution when it comes to being every match. So try not to, but once in a while the hand gets hurt.
Getcha. All right, so I'm gonna have you put on your imagination hat for a minute here. It is a typical show day at the UCC for Dan Perch. It's noon. Could you run us through a day for you at the UCC before and after?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, so a UCC show. Yeah, we show up noon, beautiful, sun is shining. Get into the venue, make sure the ring's being set up and getting there properly, clear out the space for the front door. The ring starts being built. We start getting stuff ready. Sound equipment start bringing out. Some stuff that we store at the venue, some stuff we bring with us. Making sure we have all the production equipment set up. We start setting up production. We've enhanced the fan experience lately, and we have a couple of jumbo TVs.
Yes.
We make sure that those monitors are, out and ready, and get them set. Then we start getting things ready. Chairs set up. Start making rows. We'll start writing post-it notes lists of fans, making sure we get every chair posted and chairs out, post-its on, handle business, making sure we grab waters, lots and lots and lots of waters. One of my favorite parts about pro wrestling is we don't always have a shortage of waters. It's on everyone's mind, and we pay attention to it. Sometimes we have ice buckets with waters in there. Oh, so I always try to take it upon myself as well, making sure we have water everywhere, or getting people to grab it too. So making sure everything's set up and ready to go for fans, getting our ticket list ready, and getting wristbands set, merchandise set up, putting everything out on display, really going over, getting the body right, stretching, going through a routine, seeing everybody as they get to the show, coordinating if we need anyone with rides. As we get closer to the show, we start getting things, ready and cleaned up and, ready for fans. Periodically, I come out and see the fans outside the door. I like to get hyped up just as much as everyone else. And whether it's a regular coffee in hand or a water, I get a lot of good energy from the fans and your guys' energy. So it keeps me going throughout the days. So
Yeah.
then eventually the doors open, the show starts, the crazy show and the chaos ensues. Make sure all of our camera people are set with waters throughout the show. Make sure everyone's good on the same page throughout the show. I'll take a couple laps too, making sure everyone's good from front of the house to back of the house. And if there's any time we have in between, making sure our teammates are in good shape and doing well and getting prepared for what we have going on next.
So then before a match happens, when does the adrenaline hit you? Before you walk out? Does it hit you once you hit the ring? Is it once both wrestlers are in there and it's time to make the announcements from Emil? Where is that for you?
Well, what fans don't see is I have a 5-minute routine behind the curtain where I do a Triple H entrance and pour water over my head and pour my face. I'd say right around there is where it kicks in. Right there. Mm-hmm. To some extent. I'll either do that physically or in my head. But right at that moment is when I start kicking into overdrive.
Well, I won't ask about superstitions or rituals because I have a feeling we just heard 25% of them there. Let's see here. So I'm going to get you with a question here that I wanted to I think this was important because, again, I said you're a thinker, and I felt it's important as an ever learning student to learn from your peers. So I'm going to give you 4 names, and I would like for you to tell me, if you could, maybe something you have learned from that individual. It could be personal, it could be business, it could be whatever that you have found. All right. It could be even something funny. Adam Galt, what have you learned? One piece from Adam Galt.
Ooh, Adam is a wonderful a person to look up to and a referee mentor of sorts. There's been a lot that I've learned from him. One thing in particular is something that'll stick with me for a long time is, a good referee can make for a good deathmatch referee, and that lesson is at surface value, but there's so much more that goes into it, and it was understanding it, but going to fully understand it as time has gone on. The little lessons that you get that make more sense as time goes on. But he helped me, understand an environment that I was otherwise unfamiliar with, and he was able to get me acclimated to it and be prepared for it, which has led to me, being much more calm in any kind of an environment. So, I'd say that was a strong piece of advice that I learned.
Perfect. All right, then the next one I want to talk about was one that's more West Coast, and we see him all the time, but he's somebody who, again, I have a really high opinion of because he's just a nice guy, flat out. Chad Rico, is there anything personally or professionally you, or maybe a joke, who knows, from Chad Rico that you'd like to share?
Yeah, Chad, always love seeing him. That smile, always brightens me up. His West Coast living, there's a good sense of passion that comes along with it. I love hearing his stories at San Diego, the place that I lived for a brief time in my life. So I love touching base and feeling that kind of atmosphere again. And something that I carry with me from Chad is just to always have fun. Whatever we're doing out there, my God, how much fun are we having? It's a whole lot.
Yeah.
A day can be so stressful, work wise, but it's not stress because it's fun. It's the most incredible. There's a reason. There's a genuine smile because there's so much fun that I'm having the entire day. And he's someone who is always there to remind me of reasons of how we can have fun, whether it's hearing music or jamming out to a song, or there's been times where we've watched matches together at collectives. Like we're just chilling and watching matches and just being a fan and loving it for reasons
Wow.
why we love pro wrestling. I've had a lot of fun moments and moments that remind me to always have fun.
All right. Then the next one that I have for you is Scarlett Donovan.
Yeah, Scarlett. It's a good homie right there. That ride or die. Many miles on the road with her. And she's someone who's so strong-minded, and she has got a burning passion for this business, like I've never seen. Um, I get a lot of the hard work and work ethic and drive from her. She's someone who is always out there grinding, and to put in the hard work that she does, it takes a strong individual to do it. And she holds up such a mountain of responsibilities, and she does it, with with a good attitude every time. So, something I get from Scarlett is just that strong willpower, and she's always out there raising the bar. There's something that I'm looking to be doing. She's probably out there, working hard at it too. So to have her as a teammate is incredible. It always reinstills that drive for the business that we all had.
Wow. And something my wife mentions about her is that Scarlett always has the coolest braid in her hair. I don't know if she's a master of that or someone backstage is a master of braiding hair, but she always mentions that her hair has sometimes this really cool eternity braid, and I have to trust what she says is right. So
Yeah, and going back to we've said it before, the true professional in the professional wrestling business. She is a true pro, as
wow.
is Chad Rico and Adam, and Scarlett. She handles her hair. She handles her pregame. She's the person for all that.
Yeah, nice.
Much compliments and kudos go to her.
My last one for you is Max Recon.
Oh, Max Recon. All my love to Recon just as well with everybody. Uh, Recon from day one has been someone who uh, has been right there as a teammate, as a friend, as someone to say, hey, put your gear by mine and welcome me in. Uh, he's someone who will drive behind you on the road just so you always, have safety and knowing that if all hell breaks loose, uh, you got someone who's got your back and we're all in it together. Um, yeah, so teamwork as well as just having fun, really between Adam, Scarlett, Chad, Recon, the ability that we've all got to just have fun and enjoy every one of these days for what it's worth. We work so hard, and there's so much responsibilities that come with it, but it's the most fun we've ever had. And when we get everything accomplished, the show goes on. We're all able to enjoy it, and there's usually a time where at the end of the show or beginning, we'll be like, "Oh, we got to get a pic together," and we all do, and it's just moments we'll always carry with us because
Oh,
it's West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, and we've all got different perspectives, and I've learned so much from everyone. Before I even worked with GCW, I was taking notes on everybody. I got to meet Scarlett on an online seminar when the world changed, so got to meet her online. So by the time I met her at the first collective in Texas, that we got to meet each other, that was awesome. And working with Adam at the Tampa collective, and Chad as well, and Recon. Recon was the first one to say, "Hey, Perch, you have your gear at Tampa?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "Great, put it next to mine." I said, "Oh, cool." So
yeah.
he welcomed me in to the whole crew to have a spot to learn and study as a referee. So I couldn't be more grateful for those guys that you mentioned, and how we're all students together, learning from one another.
I really liked how you like said like each person, like how like you get the professionalism from Scarlett, you get to enjoy yourself and realize what you're doing is fun and enjoy it with Chad, like, and how each person, like what you described is exactly how I think each person would like have an impact on you as a referee or just as a person too. And like it was cool here, like Max too. Like I think Max is like one of those ones, as you said, you got to be safety in the ring. Like I go back to the Hammerstein where like he was yelling at other referees, like in a not a non-professional way, but like, hey, next time you got to be out there and grab that ladder. Cause like G-Ray climbed the ladder, like nobody was there to hold it. And like, you see him almost lose his balance. But I, being a fan, I saw Rico like live in a person running around, like to try to, at the last second, to try to grab it to help protect G-Ray on that spot. But then like, he's telling the other referees, like, you need to get over there, get like, and then you see it like the rest of the match, the referees are running over there and helping these crazy spots with the ladders happen and make sure they're all nice and safe. But that's just like the leadership that I see with Max in the ring. Just as one of the referees in GCW.
Yeah, and everyone's personalities and traits play different, and to have Adam as a fearless leader with his experience as well, and he's able to give us a roadmap to go down that we're able to learn and grow, and understanding and working in professional wrestling for the right reasons. And Adam's able to shine those lights on all of us and really put all of us in best position to succeed. And we're able to rely on each other's strengths and perform with each other. So all of us are working together as a team, and it's fun when we're all using our strengths together. And yeah, Adam was the one who really saw that and started to put us in those right positions.
I have one last serious wrestling question, and then we can go into the fun stuff. You ready for the last serious question I got? Oh, I
got an unserious wrestling question after this. Well,
okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. Serious.
You want to go first? You want to go first?
I'll do it after you.
Okay. All righty. Mr. Dan, who's the one person wrestling that you would love to sit down and talk to, living or dead, and what would that conversation be about?
Wow.
I maybe should have prepped you on that one before we went on air too, but that is a good question to pop on somewhat.
Oh yeah, I love it. Man, someone I'd love to talk to would be Triple H. Again, from being my favorite in the business growing up to work my entire life, he worked his way all the way to the top, to being in the position he's in now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No one saw that coming, but I can tell you, yeah, I saw it coming. He's been my favorite forever. But no, I would love to pick his brain and to understand his level of understanding of professional wrestling business and what it takes and what it means to perform on the highest level and how to get to the highest level. I would love to hear his insights and breakdowns of his favorite matches growing up as a kid, what got him into pro wrestling. The King of Kings documentary I watched years ago is probably one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my life. But if I could sit down with him for an afternoon and have a conversation, even his perspective on referees and old school, modern day, all in between. My entire lifetime and then some, he would be able to cover. So, yeah, if there's someone I could talk to, it would be Triple H, just for the knowledge on the history of professional wrestling, as well as the top of the world right now. Incredible.
Well,
Tom- and
if you
Tommy,
still if you still had a favorite card for Brett, I think you should use that with his connections with Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan now to set something up like that. Take advantage.
Big balling over there.
I got a couple, like, I'll keep it short. I do have a couple more like wrestling questions, but I know we've been kind of wrestling heavy here. I'll just do this one because I got to bring up Jordan and Charles Mason last week with that match.
Ooh.
As a referee in that match, I need to hear. I scared him away.
You scared him.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not.
There we go. See, we squared him away.
I thought I scared you away with that time. No, I just wanted to see your perspective of that match. I think like during the match, I think I caught on like maybe I half missed it or something. Like when the match started, Jordan kind of got hurt. You rang the bell for safety, but then let the match continue on because he was fighting back. I want to just hear your perspective on that match, the injury, and anything else negative you want to say about Charles Mason. You're free to do so on this podcast.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. We had no comment from the commissioner on the matter because we're entrusted to handle business how we see it. Referee's decision is final, so we're entrusted to make those calls. And yeah, Jordan Oliver and Charles Mason, those two have got a fierce little rivalry going on right now. And Jordan Oliver is, fighting from under. The man's hurt. He's battling through everything he can just to make it, to get a little bit of payback and redemption on someone like Charles Mason. We know everybody and our teammates and the roster. We stay very in tune with the crew, like we talked about earlier. So we know how everyone's doing at any given moment. So if the competitors are able to go, they're able to go. And if they're not, they're simply not able to perform. But in those moments, we keep everyone on the same page. As it was, Jordan Oliver his leg was hurt. He was in rough shape. At that point, as a referee, we were going to have to call it off. And we got everything ready. And if that was going to have to stand, it was. Next thing I knew, Jordan Oliver had that fight back in him. And he ran like a bat out of hell. And I announced this match continues. This match continues. It goes on. We're not in MMA. This is not professional boxing at the MGM Grand. It's professional wrestling. We handle it how we have to handle it. And we give the fans the best time they can on any given night. And the hard work and the heart that Jordan Oliver had on that night is incredible. It's emotional to even think about. And it's a credit to how good of a student and performer, athlete, all-around professional wrestler Jordan Oliver is. So that was such a real moment, and he gave so much to that crowd on that night. And Charles Mason, just as well, the most evil SOB I've ever seen in my life. There's nothing, zero redeemable qualities. That's all we've got to say about it.
Oh,
Yes.
Charles is a regular listener.
Go back
if he pops in on video, I'm not responsible, Perch. I'm just letting you know.
Go back and watch Phoenix from a couple times ago.
Yes, sir.
You'll see the old me.
That's great.
No, but Charles, he handles things again. Truly, he is a professional, hands down. But yeah, and Jordan Oliver, he gave it everything that he had that night. So yeah, match continues, and it went on, and as it was, it continued, and we had ourselves, 10 more minutes of a battle before it was decided. So yep, that was the decision on that match. Was we were close. If it had to, we were going to call it off. However, it didn't come to that by the end of it, and we did have to make a call at the time. But nope, match continues. We were able to pull those reins right back in and give the fans a damn good show in Canada that night.
And see, that's one thing I really love, like about that match specifically, how you were able to restart it, but you also acknowledge, like, yeah, hey, I made a decision at that split second. Half a second later, Jordan's fighting back, so you realize you're wrong, and you're able to reverse that decision and get the match going. Like that's something I would like to see, kind of. Oh. That's
Darth Oliver.
I got my family in here today. We got to support the Jordan stuff here. I just like how you were able to like admit a mistake and then fix it and then let the match keep on going. Like you guys have that power, and I just wish that was kind of happen a little bit more in wrestling, because I know we see mistakes happen and stuff like that, but just on the fly being able to fix it and move on, like nothing ever happened, but move on with it and just acknowledge, like as you just said, hey, I made the decision for wrestler safety. I quickly changed my mind, knowing the wrestler, knowing how he is and how he was fighting back. He showed me I was wrong, and your original decision is not being held over everybody's head, and I get the match's head is not like hanging over as a dark thing. And I really just enjoyed the referees having that power to admit a mistake and then fix it, or have that power to step in when you need to step in where talent might not, as like we were talking about earlier, the Hoodfoot situation. So I really like the GCW, and Brett gives you guys that power to have full control of the situation and the match that you are in control of.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because that is a good subject. And yeah, it's great to be able to speak on that, because certainly it's something that happens, and it's about how you handle moments and situations. And again, a credit to the everybody inside that ring, really everyone working and giving the fans a good time. There's a show that has to go on. We want to make sure it goes on, but not everyone could have done what those two guys did in that match, and they did. So yeah, credit to both guys all around. But again, that Charles Mason's scariest SOB, evil, pure evil. I'd say him and Mance Warner, like, dude, no joke, scariest guys in the business.
So I want to piggyback off of that now with the recent Mance Warner heel turn and going against the fans, and now pretty much challenge the fans at every show to get in his face and everything. Describe the situations there, like how nervous you've been of fans crossing the line, or Mance taking it too personal crossing the line, because those are intense moments, but I really think that's bringing the best out of him right now in ring, and his character's getting that major heat. But I could also see like some of these situations when you go into the fans, I can see you guys as a ref like trying to control the situation, but I could also just see Brett in the back like, oh God, like, please control yourself. What is going on? Like I see him losing his mind every time he crosses into the fans area of the ring.
Yeah. Pro wrestling has got so many different styles, and what always works is what has worked before. And what Mance Warner delivers is old school, brawling, chaotic atmosphere, heightened level of awareness, kind of an atmosphere. And he brings it everywhere he goes. You're not watching a show, you are part of a live action. He brings you into it. It's more than just coloring outside the lines. Mance Warner is, he's professional and he handles it well, but he creates a level of an atmosphere that creates a bit of a riot. And it's similar to like a Bruiser Brody back in the day, but not the same style, because Mance is his own guy. And what he does in 2024, it's crazy. It's a must see, really. It's I've seen the reactions that fans have, and even players and us as referees trying to control some of the chaos. It's wow, incredible. I was at a show in Montreal with the IWS and GCW. Mance Warner comes out, and I was behind the stage, and I see that he's walking out to the ring, and he makes a turn, goes to the crowd, and I booked it. I don't think I even went down a stair. Like I leaped down that stage to get to that crowd, to just be there instinctually. And he rustled up the fans a little bit, and really, brought
that's great.
the atmosphere to him, and you could see everybody react, a whole swarm of people. You don't know what he's going to do, and it's scary, it's frightening, it's thrilling, it's all the above. But when we're out there and we're performing our job, Mance Warner, scariest pro wrestler I've ever seen. Jacob Fatu was pretty scary too.
For me, that's the worst. For me, Jacob, like I literally, if he was walking around the ring at UCC, you saw what, like when there's one time I literally ran away from my wife standing there. Like I left her hanging. I was like, I'm getting out of Jacob's way. I don't trust him. Like he's
So
got
scared.
that intensity. Yeah. Like he's like, and that's what I love about Mance now, bringing out that, like, it feels like the WCCW, like the emotion out of the crowd and the hatred. Like, he's just an intimidating factor with the fans. And so like with Jacob, like that was Jacob for me, was just on another level. Like that was the scariest I've ever been like as a fan around the ring. Cause he's just so unpredictable in a good way, obviously, but as a fan, you just never know which way it's going to be.
Yeah. And that realness that comes along with it, whether it's scary or evil, or sick and sadistic, like a Charles Mason, or Fatu or Mance. Again, they're all true professionals at the business, and they perform their craft to a level that no one else does, and the full credit to each one of them, because it's pro wrestling. We're living in the professional wrestling world. We don't want just ordinary. Sure,
Right.
maybe some ordinary, but give us something larger than life and full commitment. And my goodness, and it's no joke. Like they are legitimately scary people. We had a Tuesday night here in Milwaukee. Sure, I'm far away from those guys. I'm not too scared. But if we're inside the same venue as them and it's showtime, legitimate, frightened, scary performers. But that's an element of pro wrestling that's so good. You need to be scared a little bit. I love that.
Brings the realism in.
Oh, it brings that realism.
I like how it works up the fans too, because the big thing with fans now is unless it's a big spot or something that really hurts, you don't get a lot of independent fan reaction. So when you have someone like Mance come in and bring emotion to the fans' faces, and then they believe it and feed into it, and then you can see even on TV how the temperature of the room has went up, because you can just see pissed off bodies in different places, and more of that, honestly, because it works. And in this decade, people don't really believe into the realism. You know what I mean? They're not. And when Mance is in your face, it's a different story. And he's willing to steal your shit, throw you. And when he walks by, I'm like, you know what? I ain't got no problem with you at all, sir.
Take my hat off. I'm
Take
hiding.
your hat.
How you
Phone
doing
is
today?
in my pocket.
Yep.
But he does such a damn good job of bringing back what wrestling had in it, especially in the mid 80s, even into the 60s and 70s, where fans could easily riot with just one or two more things coming from that wrestler, and they're ready to go like that. So thank goodness for someone like him keeping that era alive, because that's when wrestling worked with the fans.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm even feeling like nervous because it's like that the emotions come to me. It's that pure fear, and that the roles that we play, and the real life aspect to it. It's pouring yourself into who you are in any kind of a night on any given day, and there's a different level that comes with it, and it produces some of the best pro wrestling that I've ever seen when it's all real.
I'll try to ease your mind here a little bit. We won't post the clip of you going off on Mason. We'll keep that just to ourselves and to our viewership here. We won't clip that and post that.
What's that wee shit you're talking about, Brant?
I must say, there was one time like Mason, like Jacob Fatu is literally the scariest person I've been to, but like outside the show, he's like also one of the nicest, and like he was so cool to talk to outside. But like Mason was like one of the first ones. We were talking shit on the podcast, like in LA. I was on the stage and he walked like right by me. I'm like, oh shit, please don't recognize me. Please don't look me up. Like I was legit scared. I'm like, oh shit, this psycho is gonna come after me here. But like he's also one of those ones too. He just walks in the room and just all the hatred just comes at him, especially like in LA. Like I always think LA is like one of the most dangerous places for him to be, how hated he is everywhere. But between
the hair
AC
on the back of my neck is standing up. Remember talking about Mason.
Okay.
Scary, frightening. I remember a match with him and Billy Starks, and oh my goodness,
Oh yeah,
scary. Oh, yeah, that's another level of performance. Him and Janai Kai at the Ridgefield Park. Wow. Yeah, his storytelling with Richard Holiday, it was wild roller coaster, ups, downs, turns, betrayals. I thought maybe we'll see Charles Mason, maybe in a good light, but nope, he stayed evil. he stayed evil. He stayed evil. But it's a credit to the hard work that he puts in. My God, the shape that he's in, he's put together. He came back to the curtain with blood just streaming down his face one time. It was the scariest look I've ever seen in my life. I think I turned the other way. I was like, okay, that's legitimate. Like, this guy's jacked and he could, rip my face off.
he's got the little sadistic smile and laugh when he's happy. That's someone else's blood all over him. He don't care.
Dude, his character is so well thought out. And that's the other thing. I mean, down to the fact that even when he's looking in the ring, it almost looks like he's stalking. And it always looks like he's calculating. And those are two things that I think you have to put effort in when you're in the ring to show that you're doing. And a lot of that comes with body motion and eye movement. So, but Perch, don't be scared. We're about to go into the fun portion because we have went through quite a bit of time here on the more serious stuff. Those are some scary people
we just talked about right there.
Dude, I know.
Scary wrestlers, man.
We'll bring the heart rate down here.
Yeah, let's bring it up now. So I'm gonna go with some more fun stuff here. Do you have any pets?
We've got a cat. I've had my whole life, and she's pretty cool, Ziggy. And my brother's got a dog, so we always grew up with a dog. Black Lab. I love good. Black Lab.
Nice.
Always grew up with the dog when I was younger. She was a Black Lab Great Dane mix, big 120-pound Black Lab. I only had like 10 pounds on her, so you let me know where we were at back in order.
Yeah, well, I have a rule that if it poops...
Go ahead.
Dude, no, my rule is if it poops bigger than me, maybe I shouldn't be living with it. Maybe it's dominating me. Maybe it's the king of the house.
Yeah, like a big, a nice Black Lab.
Perch, what's your favorite sports team? Here it comes. Go ahead. I want to hear the Packers. Let's hear it.
Favorite sports team in the world: Green Bay Packers. One of the first football teams ever around. Them Packers and the Bears, like the longest rivalry in all of sports and pro sports. I love them. I don't like the Bears, but I don't mind them. I like our rivalry. Nothing touches Pack football. I don't talk Packer football to many people because I can't tolerate slander. So I don't speak ill on anyone else's team. I just speak so positively about my own. Therefore, I usually keep my football thoughts to myself. and my favorite sport is baseball. I love MLB.
Really?
Favorite team is the Packers. Favorite sport is MLB. And Brewers I love, but I love every team in baseball because the Brewers, it took them 20 years of my life before they ever made the playoffs. So we don't expect them to be good. So I just love every team in baseball. Love going to different stadiums. Seeing the Phillies live is so fun. I've turned into a Phillies fan as well. Love the Dodgers. Love their players. Anytime the Dodgers come to town, I like to see them. The White Sox Stadium is like my second stadium that I go to. It's only a few hours away. Beautiful place. And American Family Field, Miller Park in Milwaukee is the best tailgating spot. You get to the game 3 hours early. You set up a cooler, lawn chairs, and a grill. You grill some sausages, some brats, some burgers, uh, have some drinks. I'd like some good ice waters, and tailgate for a long time before the show starts. And then you go into the game, and then after the game, you party it up in the parking lot afterwards.
That's right.
Have you ever done it or had the opportunity to slide down the slide at Miller Park? Like, do they do like maybe like promotions at the beginning of the year throughout the season where like you could pay to have that kind of experience or no?
Yeah, funny you should ask. Once in a while, they'll throw stuff out there where you'll hear someone get to go down the slide. And we saw a video replay. One of the Los Angeles Dodgers reporters was doing a report on it a couple of years ago, and he went down the slide, and he ended up breaking his collarbone. And they showed him the next day, and he was in a big sling. He slid down
Oh my goodness.
fast and got injured. So
I can just see the was
You
it Benny? Is it
underestimated.
Benny the Brewer?
Bernie Brewer.
Bernie the I can just see him just laughing at him like, at the top of my mind, like, you got hurt.
Ever since hearing that, I was like, yeah, I don't need to go down that slide. And that guy took one for the team.
So are you doing any fantasy football this year?
You know, I did fantasy football for the first time in year 2000. And for the last time in year 2020.
Oh, wow.
I did it for 20 years, and I called it quits.
Wow.
I had enjoyed the game and ups and downs, and it took on a life of its own to the point where there was more talk about the fantasy side of things than the actual sport, that I unplugged myself from that and just enjoy the sport. Oh, and I love different
Smart.
players on different teams. Yeah, it helps me pay attention to the sport as a whole and different positions. I was always an offensive lineman and a kicker, so I love those positions more than anything. So I like watching the old line and paying attention to that. And kickers aren't valued as much in the sport, but I still love them, and they're my favorite position. So love a good field goal kicker.
Do you think Jordan Love takes the step this year? I know you don't talk about Packers. I'm just gonna throw that one. I want one opinion there of Jordan Love this year.
Oh man, he's the man. I think Jordan Love is incredible. We were at Ridgefield Park for a show, and the Packers played the Steelers that day, and we were in such a bad way. But in that game, Jordan Love was making a few completions. He had to have had at least 3-4 passes that looked pretty good, and we were like, man, this kid's got something. We lost that game, but we knew that we had a player. And yeah, GCW, I think that may have been a JCW show at Ridgefield Park. I think War Dogs against the Rejects were on that show, perhaps. But that was the day that Jordan Love made me a believer.
Yeah, it's got to be tough to be a
he's
Packers fan going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to now Jordan Love. There's no ever downswing in quarterbacks in Green Bay lately.
No, through my entire lifetime, and we've enjoyed every moment.
Dude, Mikowski was even cool back in the day before you had Brett Favre. Do you remember Dan Mikowski? Magic Man.
The Magic Man, because the Pack was so bad. The 70s and 80s, we were the worst team in all the sports, just about. And then it was the Magic Man that started to take us, a little bit into being all right. Ron Wolf came over as a GM. We brought on Holmgren, Favre, and Reggie White. The team was off and rolling from there.
I loved Reggie White.
Oh,
that guy was so cool.
Reggie White, Leroy Butler too in that time. Absolute legend. Reggie White is like a hallowed figure in this land, in Packer country.
Well, I'm a Browns guy. I grew up about 30 minutes from Canton, Ohio, where the Hall of Fame is. So I've been crying since the day I was born. My first year I watched the Browns. They were in the AFC Championships and lost to Denver on a something called the Drive. They went like 90 plus yards on Cleveland and went to the Super Bowl, but they got their shit kicked in, so I didn't mind it that much. But yeah, past that 86 or 87 season, I haven't had a good Browns season in a long time. And my son came along and he's like, I want to watch football. He ended up being a Baltimore Ravens fan, which is where my old Cleveland Browns team left and went to. So now I'm watching my old Browns team now as the Ravens with my son.
Nice.
I like Matt Tucker.
Hey man, the whole team, that Ravens team is something else. I still think they were the best team last year, but that's not how the playoffs ran. All right. Anyway, I won't get on that one too much. What are some simple things that make your day better? Very easy question.
I like good music, some good old Grateful Dead. Start off the day. Live Grateful Dead, always good music. Like a good coffee. There's a place in Milwaukee called Stone Creek Coffee. Just a nice plain hot coffee. Nothing in it. Oh, it just hits the day right. Starts the day off right. Yeah, good music, good coffee, nice ice water as well. Like to stay hydrated throughout the day, and ice is the best flavored. I like seeing the lake, being around water always makes me happy, whether it's an ocean. We have Lake Michigan by us, which is like an ocean. So I like just walking around the beach and taking it all in, stretching, getting the body right. Enjoy times with family and friends, being surrounded by people you love. That helps cheer me up and gives me a little bit of a balance in my life, and it helps. When things at home are right, it gives me the confidence and strength to go out into the world and be the best version of myself I can be. So really continuously finding strength, balance with family and friends really helps a lot.
I had a question about the photography of a kind of like how that goes into like easy taking your mind away from the wrestling stuff. What's been like your best places that you've loved to like take your pictures at, and like what's one place that you wish GCW would go to so that way you could take pictures there?
Oh man, thank you for bringing that up. Thinking about these, what we do for fun. Photography is so much fun along the journey. It's a part that I've been doing for years, but just recently picked up a decent camera to use what I've been learning and put it into a whole nother level to take a step up. So with that, I'm starting to experience different backdrops, different venues, different landscapes. I remember we had some great, a lot of shows and great times over the past few months, and trying the camera out in say the desert of Arizona with a nice sand backdrop, capturing some pictures of Zilla that are still being used on posters, which are pretty cool. Good pictures of the team as well. I remember taking photos out in Colorado with that vast background. Picture with Nick Gage staring off into the distance with the farm animals and stuff, and it just really puts into light, the environments and landscapes we're in. Seeing Jordan Oliver at Bloody Face in Colorado as well with the backdrop, and being able to see how light plays inside, outside. I'm looking forward to just anywhere. New venues in particular are always cool. I like to see inside and different, different environments. Another shout out to Jordan Oliver. He's always open to say, "Hey, Perch, how about this area or that area?" He'll always kind of point things out. He's got a good eye for photography as well. So seeing different environments. I look forward to hearing other people's perspectives too. So looking forward to Japan, taking the camera out to Japan and really taking as many photos as I can there. I've taken a lot over the years, but this time we'll have a nice camera to do so. So I can't wait to see how it goes for this tour coming up.
I actually look forward to seeing like the stuff that you post on like Twitter. Like, do you have like an Instagram too? I'm never on Instagram, but like, do you like post a lot more like on Instagram or Twitter, like those kind of pictures? Because like I said, I look forward to seeing like the days of the shows or days after you posting like the different pictures and the cool, like as you said, backdrops and scenery of where you guys are at.
Yeah, a lot of them at Perch XLV all across the board.
Okay.
Instagram as well as Twitter, X. And I try to post as many pictures as I can. The pound sign, celebrate pro wrestling. there'll be a link. Maybe we'll create a page of some sort to
Yeah.
promote it. And
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah, we'll put the collections together and appreciate hearing that. Thank you for that perspective.
I love like those visitors. Like that book was awesome. Like the cool behind the scenes pictures of like Cork and Hall and everything else that was out there in Japan was awesome. See, that's why I like seeing yours, not like your now local place like Colorado and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to say that my wife, especially, she likes to follow all that because, you know, my wife Turtle, she takes pictures too. So the minute that she saw you're doing pictures also, she's like, okay, I got to check this out. And she was saying the same thing. She's like, those are excellent pictures. So just letting you know from two other opinions over here on this side too, that we love what you're doing and we hope you just keep doing it.
Oh, thank you guys. That really does mean a lot because we're out here on the journey. You know, started off day one as a student in pro wrestling and want to learn everything in this business. And by doing that, we're able to experience it and to hear the feedback and to know that, you know, other people are liking to see the journey just as well. That really gives me inspiration and motivation to continue to document and to show stuff and to capture great moments that we're all a part of. Really, because pro wrestling in 2024 is on another level right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've been saying that for like 3 years too. Like each year just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and we're, you know, creating modern day history. Well, you know, paving the road and leaving the next generation in a better position than we were when we entered the business to start. And with that mentality, you know, we're going to try and help support each other and help grow the professional wrestling community even more. And through doing pictures and, you know, telling our stories inside the ring and outside the ring to fans and wrestlers and everybody alike, it's only going to help strengthen our community.
All right. So you and I share something interesting in common, Perch. You and I are both fans of garlic bread and croutons. Someone ruined it one day for me when they told me that croutons are just hard garlic bread and garlic bread is just soft croutons. And I still didn't give a fuck. High five, bro. What is your favorite fast food place?
Oh, favorite fast food place?
Yeah.
There's a handful of things that I canceled out of my life for health purposes. Just stomach aches and causing them.
Yeah.
I try not to eat candy, chocolate. I canceled ice cream for a whole year just to stop it. I was
Dairy.
addicted to ice cream.
Is it just dairy that's
no?
I
eat too much ice cream. I was taking down a pint or 2 pints every pint a night. Pint a
Thinking
night.
about Charles Mason, the pint helps comfort him at night.
I was in too deep, so I tried to take myself off, and I was feeling it in the stomach and the body. So fast food is one of those things that I've had to cancel out and for years. So I don't venture. However, if there's a food that we go to on the road that I look forward to, I don't know what it's considered, but In-N-Out is top dog. So
all right,
if that's a fast food, it's a delicacy on the West Coast. We don't get it out here. So if we go to the West Coast, I'll try and get In-N-Out at least once. So that's my one fast food joint that I could say I love. I like a nice double with lettuce, pickle, tomato,
boom,
cheese, fries, boom, done. Water.
And then
for a shake or something there. Water.
Comfort food. What about a comfort food? What's something you like to, you know?
Noodles and bread. I'll take a lasagna, number one. Garlic bread. Oh my goodness. Or went to a restaurant last night. They give you a whole loaf of bread with some cinnamon butter. I'll take a warm bread, any style.
You're Italian.
I'll eat the whole
You're
loaf.
Italian, aren't you?
Oh, heavy.
Yeah. I was raised in an Italian town, and I can just tell. I'm like, he's totally loving the Italian stuff. So
there's
the carbs.
Times at lunch, I'll take down a whole, 1.5 foot baguette, just plain, dry bread. So good. So good.
All right. So that kind of runs in the same category. What is your favorite family recipe?
Favorite family recipe?
Yeah. Mom or somebody makes something good. I know it.
Yeah. This was the best. Mom made an amazing homemade pizza. She would make the crust from scratch. It started out with just a little powder. Then you had to put some water on it, and then it would grow a little bit. Then you'd let it sit for a little bit longer. She would take the Italian sausage and cut the Italian sausage open and actually put the pieces on the pizza. She loaded up with the pepperonis. She would, I think, put them in the microwave a little bit to crisp them, and then put them on the pizza in the oven.
She knows what she's doing.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And it was the greatest pizza, a full meal. Like, it would last you that night, but then you would have at least maybe 2 pieces the next day, and that would be lunch or, breakfast or dinner. And sadly that recipe went away with her. We send our love to her every day, but we'll never taste that amazing pizza. Oh, that was the absolute best, hands down. Best family recipe.
Well, I lost my mom like 3-4 months ago, so I'm very sorry to hear about your mother. I understand how important it is. Same to you, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. This is supposed to be the fun part. All right, we're going into the childhood of Dan Perch for a minute. What video games did you dominate?
Oh, Super Nintendo was the system I was born into. Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball on Super Nintendo. I could play that with my eyes closed, and would often play a couple of friends growing up, and we would dominate that thing. Mystical Ninja as well, with the red guy and the blue guy, the Geomon. Kid Yang and Dr. Wang. Those guys were so good. Mystical Ninja, one of my favorites of all time. Super Nintendo was life-changing. And then the Nintendo 64 came out.
Dude, another ball game, like a whole other world when you saw like Mario in 3D.
Wow, 3D Mario. Warzone was the first game I ever had for that system. Was absolutely incredible.
Warzone.
Battle
tanks. That was cool.
And
that's what I'm talking about.
The WCW game was so freaking sick for N64. Revenge and I had that and WCW versus NWO.
Yeah, the World Tour.
Yeah, dude, we would just rock the shit out of that game. They'd let us customize all the names and stuff, right? So we'd all just take a wrestler and we're like, oh, look, here comes Larry. He's gonna beat the shit out of our professor or whatever. So yeah,
I have one current system on my shelf that I use. Nothing, all the others have extinct over the years, and it's a Nintendo 64. And I've got every wrestling game to it. And yeah, it's the best. Always has been the best. Still is the best. But yeah, I would say that was the era that I dominated, was that Super Nintendo. They got more advanced, and I loved games after that, but never did I dominate them like I used to.
What music were you listening to back then?
Ooh, Three Doors Down, Matchbox 20, Green Day. Man, the CD player portable. Wow. Offspring. Offspring Smash cassette was the first cassette I remember I had, and that was great. And then the CDs started to come out, and yeah, it was hitting at that time. Offspring, Three Doors Down. Bon Jovi had a good CD up in there too with the It's My Life. Like them. The Killers came around, and they became my favorite band by like 2004. By the time their second CD came out, I've been a Killers fan the rest of my entire life. Been getting the Brandon Flowers haircut for at least 20 years.
What was your favorite cereal?
Golden Grams, #1.
Nice. That's our second Golden Grams person, by the way.
Ooh, until this day, they're still #1. Wheaties have been in there as a close one, and Waffle Crisp as well. But Golden
regular
Grams,
Wheaties or frosted Wheaties?
I don't frost them. No extra sugar.
Gotcha. All right.
Just regular Wheaties, but yeah, Golden Grams #1.
What cartoons were you watching?
Oh man, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney, they all had it bumping. Yeah, we had some. Rocket Power was big. Rugrats, always loved growing up.
Love my Rugrats.
Growing into it, King of the Hill became the best by 97, 98. King of the Hill, probably the best cartoon I've ever seen. Courage the Cowardly Dog, absolutely loved.
Yes.
That was a spooky one. That was scary, but always good.
Was it you that were watching the Batman series now from the 90s? Isn't it
Re-
fucking
Oh,
awesome?
the animated
Adam
series
got me
yeah.
into it. I stayed at his house maybe a couple
Yeah.
years ago, and he introduced me to the Batman animated series. I'm not into superheroes all that much. Once in a while, I saw the old Spider-Mans in the mid 2000s and loved them. The X-Men in that era too, but I never ventured too far. But going back and watching those Batmans, loved it.
Mhm.
I love Batman. Those 90s movies I like. George Clooney, absolutely loved him as Batman. Val Kilmer was great. Christian Bale, I love him as an actor. I didn't like him as Batman, but that was just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cartoon Batman animated series, every episode is amazing.
It's just a great vibe, and the story actually pulls you in.
It pulls you
it's unique
in.
for a cartoon.
The Clock King is such a good villain. Oh, I can't believe how good he is.
We started to squirrel. Your favorite toy as a child?
Ooh.
One of.
Yeah,
because I know that Super Nintendo was definitely part of it.
Yeah, Super Nintendo big. Always loved just having a baseball bat and a glove, a ball and a glove. Just give me something to throw around. So favorite toy, probably a glove and a ball. I'm playing with my brother, or we would even just find something around it. As well as wrestling action figures. All of them, any of them, every type of them. Those are my favorites as kids, whether it was sports related or wrestling related. They were all hand in hand.
What position did you play playing baseball?
I was a catcher.
Catcher. Wow.
Yeah, catcher for the most of my baseball time. I played softball for many years, and by that time in my life, I was much more of a speedster and an outfielder. But for baseball growing up, catcher.
Were you bigger at one time? Because you said you also played line.
Yeah, I was
on the offensive lineman stuff.
Yeah,
because I was an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I was a center growing up. Offensive lineman, center, in control. Yeah, I was a big kid growing up for sure.
Wow.
I wouldn't have seen that.
When he said lineman earlier too, I was like, hold on, I can stop this podcast and ask a bunch of questions on this.
Yeah, I that one passed by and I went, wait a minute now.
Offensive lineman.
So we're gonna
going into that referee mentality as well. We're helping out the team, and
never get
not
any
that
credit.
We're looking for credit, but we're looking for a team victory at the end of the day.
Well, that's crazy. That's how it goes into you're thinking there. Yeah. That's insane.
So we're gonna dig deep now. I don't want to give out too many secrets, but who was your celebrity crush back in the day?
Oh, Jessica Biel.
Okay, that's a great choice. Anyone else? Usually you hear somebody like every now and then I'll hear someone go iCarly or something like that, and then you hear someone from like a little further era back that when I was a teenager I was like, oh yeah, that's a great choice. Jessica Biel. Wow.
Hands down, she was number one. Dawson's Creek, Blade. Wow, as good as it gets for a movie. Summer Catch. Come on.
Okay, this is a little fun thing. Find something in your room or nearby there. I want to see some show and tell from you. Do you got something fun that you'd like to maybe show us, or something you collect? And if you don't and you need to think for a minute, that's fine too.
Yeah, we got something right here.
Sweet.
This is a bandana that I use. I've got it close to my gear bag when traveling. This has traveled all over the world. It's been to many GCW shows. It's been inside a couple of cage of, war games, double cages.
Wow.
It's been there to rock Effie and save him and patch him up once or twice. It's been there for Nick Gage for several entrances. And
Effie's worn it, hasn't he?
Yep, Effie's worn it.
A
couple times. It's been used many times. And it came to me in St. Louis many years ago at a Ring of Honor show as I was helping doing streamers and helping out backstage, set up, tear down from Jay Briscoe. Jay Briscoe bandana. And I carry it to all the shows. And I carried it on me in that War Games match that he was in with. Coincidentally, just as someone needed it for any patch up jobs, and one of those pieces that I'll carry with me sometimes. I'll even have it in my pocket for intense matches again, for patch-up jobs if needed.
Oh,
I was
my
expecting
goodness.
that to be a Nick Gage one, the way the story was going. Then when he said Jay Briscoe, I was like, whoa, that's even
I'm
now, that's even more. That's cool. That is awesome.
wow. I'm so happy I asked that question. Holy crap, that's one of
Yeah.
the best answers we've gotten tonight. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow.
for sure.
In the fun questions.
Yeah, so I
Dude,
keep that guy close by. When I travel on the road, say if I'm taking a plane ride and it's nice and clean, I'll use it for a bandana over my eyes and fall asleep on the plane ride. No questions. You know how the travel to Tokyo goes by so quick. Bandana over the eyes, and you don't even wake up the entire time. So, yep, it's been there for
Okay.
many good times.
That's cool though. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a Briscoe one. I thought that that story was going to be a Nick Gage one, but
Yeah, yup, a
Briscoe,
Jay
that's
Briscoe bandana. We hold this one very tight, but it's
Wow.
also been there to support many people because just like music in many instances and pro wrestling, once we give it to the world, it's theirs to use, and you hope you get the most out of it.
Oh my gosh. What an amazing story. I'm so sorry,
that
but
was
I
a good
love
one,
that.
yeah.
When you think you've heard or known everything, there's always something that was that something. That was, man, now I'm afraid to move. Okay. Best concert you've attended.
Oh, best concert. There was a show a couple years ago. A few of my favorites from growing up. Death Cab for Cutie opened up for the Killers. That was a
Oh,
great combo. And the year before, I saw Bob Dylan open up for Willie Nelson. That
holy
was
crap.
incredible. And seen Dead and Company at Wrigley Field inside the stadium. And then I saw him once from the rooftops. Those are all incredible. Music festivals back in the day, 10,000 Lakes Fest, '08, Minnesota, maybe the best concert I've ever been to.
Wow. Unbelievable. What was your favorite wrestling event you've attended as a fan?
WrestleMania 40 this past year was
Oh, yeah.
out of this world. Watching everything as it went down. That main event was outrageous. I was pulling for Roman the whole time. And by the time everything was going off, the lights went out, lights come on, Undertaker comes out. The Rock's entrance was the coolest entrance I've ever seen in my life. The way he slow walked down that ramp.
That
Coolest
logo
moment.
behind him.
Unbelievable.
Red
That ramp
eyes.
was huge, and he walked it so perfectly. And then at the end of it, I was like, eh. So it brought me back to the year before, which was the coolest moment I've ever seen live when Roman Reigns beat Cody in that WrestleMania. Very sweet. That WrestleMania live, I think, was as cool as it gets. The one in Los Angeles. There was a Hell in a Cell at one point. I went in completely blind. I didn't know what matches were happening. So I was completely blown away with the triple threat match with everybody to start. Then there was a Hell in a Cell match with the Demon against Edge. Are you kidding? I didn't see that one coming. Asuka and Bianca Belair put on a match that, wow, storytelling in the modern era of pro wrestling. They told one hell of a story. Great entrances too. And then that main event was so cool. Pulling for Roman, all the action that went on. Referee Rudy Charles going down. All hell was breaking loose. Was watching with Ref Adam
He loves the
and
rest
Brett.
spots.
Was watching with
Oh, yeah.
Adam
What did
and
Adam
Brett.
and Brett say?
We were all taking it in. Oh, there goes referee Dan Engler. He's down. What's going to happen? We all perked up when that happened. It was a moment that was special. So cool. And yeah, I love taking that in. And especially those WrestleMania moments. Those were the first time. That was the first WrestleMania I ever went to in LA.
Yeah.
To take it in with the GCW team and crew after having put on 10, 12 shows in 3 days and nonstop hard work, action, to blood, sweat, tears of joy. Everything was so much fun, but the body was exhausted, but couldn't be happier. And then got to experience WrestleMania. So those are a couple of the coolest live moments I see as a fan.
So, Here's a weird one for you, but I love asking everyone this one. Would you rather have a personal trainer or a personal chef?
Personal chef, hands down.
Yeah.
If I could give any sort of indication as to what I wanted to eat, and they could take it in their own direction, I would be open for that and have it whenever you want. Yeah, I'd take a personal chef in a heartbeat.
All right. What's your favorite movie genre? And give me 3 movies that you would recommend.
Ooh, favorite genre. I like old movies, and I like horror movies. I like a good drama. So maybe I'll give you one of each.
Sure.
A good horror movie, straight up. Hereditary.
Just as he was thinking, just as
I
he
like
was,
that
he was
zoom
thinking,
in,
did you
right?
see his?
Yeah.
Dude, just
Your
as you were
camera
thinking,
zoomed
you
in
went
perfectly.
and your camera zoomed in on your thought process. It was kind of funny.
That was cool.
Okay, so we got that one.
I would say Hereditary for a modern one.
Okay.
That one delivers. Good scare,
I heard that
solid,
one's
frightening, and whoa, what just happened? A good old movie. We would take The Treasure of the Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart. That movie is so damn good. So damn good.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
What was it again?
The Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Very interesting. No, that's one that
I like a good black and white movie just because I like good acting. It doesn't have to be black and white, but give me a good actor. Humphrey Bogart, Paul Newman, any of those guys. James Stewart, Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, another one as good as it gets. I like good actors, and I draw a lot of inspiration from those good actors. And give me a movie that could also be a play. I don't, go into watching a modern, superhero movie or action movie, or they're not my forte. So give me an old school black and white or an old school acting movie or a horror movie or a good drama. And a good drama, I would take There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis in an amazing acting performance and heartbreaking when you think about it. He pulls all the emotions and he delivers. But I would say those are a few movies that hit. And one movie that hits on all levels is Godzilla -1. That is so scary at moments, legitimately frightening. The way the camera shows certain angles and you see Godzilla, so scary. It's got legitimate moments that make me cry. It's so sad. So sad. The human story to it is so sad. There's happy moments, but it gets me every time. And then there's also such good acting in it. I don't see movies multiple times in the theater. I saw that movie like 4 times. Once black and white.
Okay, so you're a black and white fan. Let me tell you this. I think it's still going on Sunday nights on American Movie Classics. That's the AMC. I'm guessing you probably know about the history of the old movie channel. Okay, they used to do on Sunday nights Silent Sundays. So what it would do was like for 6 or so straight hours, it's nothing but silent films. And it's awesome to lay down in bed and go to sleep to, because it's just the music and then you have to read the words. Then you see the acting. You know what I mean? And if you really like old stuff, that's something you got to check out one time at least, just once, just to see. Okay, moving on.
I have a question on the Godzilla. Have you seen any of the new Godzillas?
Yeah, so the 2 that have come out recently were Godzilla vs. Kong, which was amazing, so good, and then that Godzilla -1, which was like the ultimate best film of all time that I've seen. One of. And that one won the award for the best visual effects. And there's definitely reasons why it did. So, yeah, between the 2 of them that came out recently, I called the Godzilla vs. Kong. That's Fast Godzilla. That's one where he's running, and that's like a buddy cop film. At one point, Kong punches out Godzilla in the face, and he starts dragging him. It's the upbeat, fast version of Godzilla. And then the -1 is the more traditional style, scary, frightening.
I might have to
drama.
watch that one. My son's into Godzilla lately.
Ooh,
Like we
it's
saw
a
the last two that came out. Like that was like, hold on, Godzilla 1. I put that on the list too.
Oh, I love it. Just a fun, so many similarities to pro wrestling. I just went to a Godzilla Fest in Chicago over the weekend just to celebrate the art that we love. And yeah, there's so many similarities to pro wrestling and Godzilla, and I'm here for all of them.
Nice.
What are your 3 favorite Christmas movies?
Jingle All the Way, number one.
Uh-huh.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, uh, Phil Hartman, uh, Sinbad.
Thank you.
That
Phil
movie's
Hartman's my dude, actually. I like him a
that
lot.
movie's so good. He's the best. Put the cookie down. Yeah, Jingle All the Way, number one. I'd put Gremlins up there as well. That
Oh,
movie
nice
takes place on
choice.
Christmas. And the cuteness on the Gremlins when they're playing the little video games on Christmas morning. Oh my God, it's almost too cute to handle. And it's the evil ones too. So he's like hogging the little machine, and he's got Gizmo out there on the side, like not playing along with it. Um, and I would say Christmas Vacation. That movie
Nice.
is just
Nice.
there's so many parts to it. Uh, when he's up in that attic watching all those old movies, his foot falls through the floor and he starts warming up his hands. Oh my God! Just for that
Yeah.
attic scene alone, Christmas Vacation.
That's the only sad part of that movie for me is the
Oh,
attic scene. Like I get nostalgic for him. I'm like, why am
I
I
know.
upset about his aunt that's not even a real aunt? It's like shit. I missed the 60s. I wasn't even born then. It's like,
He's
how
got
do
a
they do
tear
that?
coming down with
Yeah.
the goofy hat he's wearing.
Dude, that's one of my favorite movies.
And then she pulls the door open and he falls.
Okay, so this sounds stupid because I don't even know if I've even said this on here, but I like to actually make little miniature neighborhoods during Christmas and Halloween. Like I actually buy small houses and shit. And one of the ones I did was for Christmas, I did the whole house, and I even got the neighbor's house in the garage and shit. And it has like the tree busted through the neighbor's window. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And the whole house lights up. So I mean the whole thing is obnoxiously bright because like how he had all the lights on it.
Oh, that's
Okay. What shows are you binging right now on Netflix or YouTube?
Really not.
Really?
Really not. No, if I'm watching something, it's usually going to be some pro wrestling, or I'll put in some Batman animated series before bed.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the same handful of episodes time and time again. Last show I watched was probably Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, wow.
the best. I love Malcolm in the Middle. I love Bryan Cranston. So Breaking Bad was like the greatest show of all time. Watched some of Walking Dead, the first few seasons. Governor was cool, but then I trailed off and really didn't watch a show again. Usually just either wrestling or sports of some sort. We don't get many sports on TV, so I'll listen to it on the radio if anything.
Yeah. What's the worst shoot job you've ever had?
Oh, there's been times working at restaurants. Not that they're bad, but working greasy fryers is not as fun as it's all cracked out to be. But
That smell.
yeah,
Coming home
it's
with
tough to
that
get it
grease
out.
smell.
Tough to get it out. But yeah, I worked at Five Guys in Wisconsin. Was the first one like west of Washington D.C. So worked there, and yeah, we could work it with the best of them. Cook the best food and grill it up. That was back in the mid 2000s, so long time ago. Maybe one of my first jobs.
No kidding. Okay, here's a weird one, but this is always a fun one. Do you have any ghost stories or spooky stories that you could share that had happened to you or someone you know over your life?
Ooh.
Like everybody has a friend with a haunted house or a haunted room, or somebody heard something staying over at someone's house one night. Anything fun like that?
Yeah, there was time early on in pro wrestling when we would train at this place called Papa Luigi's 2, old school down in South Milwaukee, and there'd be a gym in like the second, third floor, super cold in the winter, super hot in the summertime, and we would park outside, and you could look up at the windows. And this building was like old, and it had a fire or I think it was flood damage done to it, maybe in the 80s or 90s. So an old kind of abandoned building that had a ring way up on top. So we would go there mornings and late at night after shows, and we were sitting in the car and looking up, and we swore we saw something up in the window. And by the time I looked, knowing full well nothing was going to be up there, I saw it too, and then it was gone. So just the fact that I happened to see what was in that window too, after being a little suspect on it to start, a little bit creepy. But that one always kind of stuck with me. Nothing too intense, but something up in that window was pretty scary.
Do you think there's a possibility it was anybody real, or do you feel like you just really couldn't
It's a
tell?
Beetlejuice scene. It's a ghost.
It's a ghost.
You know,
This
I
is-
couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
whether it was something real or not real. But something that was real, reminiscent of this, came in Montreal last week. We were at a motel, and all the power went out in like the whole place. All the
I heard
power.
about that.
Ended up looking down a couple of windows, and there was a guy standing right in the window, and freaked me
What the
out. And
fuck?
I started walking the other way, and by the time we walked back, he was gone.
Oh, hell no.
Gone.
Hell
That's it.
no.
Fuck that.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Gone. So we booked it, we left, and then we realized like no stoplights were on, no anything. Like the whole town's power was out. It was wild.
Huh.
But yeah, that was pretty scary. I don't know about ghosts, but I wouldn't put it against them.
No. That's perfect. That's
That was
the kind
like
of story I
legitimately
love.
frightening, though.
I
The
love
motel
these stories.
review.
So I don't have many questions left. I'm just giving you a fair warning so you don't. In your travels, have you fallen in love with any area of the country or world outside of Wisconsin that you may like to live?
Yeah. Love Philadelphia. It's such a wonderful place. Nice area, cool city. The people are pretty down to earth. They'll tell it to you like it is. Great food out there. Really fell in love with the area. It's fun when GCW gets to work there now too. That's extra special.
Yeah.
Being able to do pro wrestling out there. I also fell in love with Japan, and if there was a way to live out there, I'll explore it. I'll explore the options because if I could stay out there for any extended period of time, I would fully take it.
The cleanliness and the order alone in Japan are just fantastic.
Yeah, and the kindness and the spirits and everyone's very happy out there, and it's a great
People want to
time.
see others succeed there.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. Like people are more congratulatory and happy for you and want to see you go further. I like that a lot. It's less competitive in a negative way is maybe the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Japan's
So-
the one place I want to move to.
If I could fit, I would love to go to Japan. You know what I mean? Like they'd have to squeeze me into some of those places. What would be your next language of choice that you'd like to learn?
Ooh, so we're learning a little bit of Spanish
Mhm.
and a little bit of Japanese. So I would say really just diving full into learning more Japanese in particular. It's such a fascinating language, and there's so many fun jokes and happiness on another level that I would be included in on by understanding Japanese. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, I really want to help communicate more with good, legitimate wrestling community and friends within the business. And yeah, that's a language I want to know more.
I know places, I'm not saying places, apps like Babbel and some of those other places now make it a lot easier. Rosetta Stone can make it a lot easier for you to learn a language. And I had some friends that were learning Japanese, and some of the best Japanese that they had learned was coming from comic books. They were reading comic books like crazy, and that really, they felt, kept their muscles, flexing the whole time. And yeah, so I don't know. I would love to go there myself one day. My brother's first wife was Japanese, and they went over to Kyoto, and they had come back with these beautiful pictures. And one day, but until then, I'm just watching videos of people pulling stuff out of vending machines. Okay. Not many left here. What would the young you think is the coolest thing about the older you right now?
Oh, I think be happy with the positive mental attitude and sticking with it throughout life. Always finding the positive in situations and adapting to the environment. And would be proud to know that I draw a lot of inspiration from my own family still from day one, and really continuing to be the same person I am and leaning into the passions that I had as a kid. So I think a childhood me would be happy that I pursued some of the passions and was able to keep the same spirit and mentality I had back then, only evolving with it and meeting more people in a world manner now, not just a local environment back then. Taking who I was
All
as a
right.
kid and bringing it out globally.
That's fantastic. I'm not going to get deep into you with it because we've been here forever. I was going to ask you, was this learned or was this something you've worked on over time with positive mental attitude? But I do know the answer is you just have to keep working at it. That's the only way to do it. It's like you either keep it or you lose it. That seems to be how it is sometimes with positive mental attitudes. Okay. 2 questions. Number 1, is there something about you that you wish people knew better and would like to share tonight with the GCW fans? Any message you'd like to give, because you have quite a few hundred fans sitting here live across a ton of platforms. And this is one of those times that if you ever wanted to say thank you, or if you ever wanted to share something about yourself that you felt you've always wanted to say, this is a perfect time to say it with the right audience.
Yeah, well, appreciate it, and for everybody who's listening, and for you guys taking your time out to really hold this conversation and allow me the time to express how I feel. Because we're all part of this professional wrestling community, whether we read about it online or watch it online, watch clips, read about results, go to shows live, bring friends to it live, whether we take pictures or even just see pictures or tell your casual friends. We're all part of this greater community, and there's strength within that. We're all like-minded individuals trying to achieve similar goals as students of the business, and our goal is to really learn as much as we can to help the next generation succeed while helping the current generation create modern history. So with fans, with photographers, videographers, media, with everybody surrounding professional wrestling, it takes every one of us to really help create that modern history and to help preserve it and to help it grow. So whether it's sharing a picture or sharing your thought about a wrestling match, really just taking your own creativity and finding what you can bring to the professional wrestling world to help support one another. That's what it's really about. We're all the team. It's a team sport, from the people working at the venue to the referees to the announcers and the promoter and the fans. We're all in it together. So just want to help spread the word and celebrate pro wrestling every day and find reasons to love it.
Bless you. Beautiful answer. Okay, for my last question, and I love this one. Okay, Dan, there are plenty of jobs outside the ring where someone may want to get involved without being a wrestler, like future referees, managers, announcers, and commentary. They could possibly use some words of encouragement. Could you possibly give them any, and maybe even let them know what the first step or two may be if they do want to break out of their shell and maybe give back to the business?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought about taking my first steps into the wrestling business. All I wanted to do was just help contribute. Just let me help be the guy who sets up the ring and tightens the screw at the bottom. I know I'm a person who has a lot of hard work to give. I just need the right outlets to put that hard work into. And not knowing the creativity that I even had or that any one of us has. With a lot of hard work, creativity, we're able to bring something to the table. But it takes finding a place to make your first step. And I couldn't recommend enough for anyone who's interested in the pro wrestling world, or finding any sort of a role that they can explore within the world of pro wrestling, to find a local independent show. There is guaranteed to be a local show somewhere, and find out who runs it. And maybe there's a school, and find a school that you can at least see for a day. You don't have to commit yourself full into everything for one day. You can walk into a wrestling school for a day and observe it. So my best bet, find a show, find a school, and observe. And if it's a reputable place, take that step into training. And you don't have to be a heavyweight champion of the world, but if you show that you're willing to learn and make some sacrifices and give yourself to the business, understanding there's a cause greater than your own individual needs, that's going to at least put you in the right position to start. And it shows other people that this person is willing to help out the business. And, maybe we can find something for them as time goes on. So the best bet is to essentially give as much hard work as you can without expecting a thank you. But you want to channel that into the right places. So if you just do that aimlessly, you're going to put in a whole lot of work without getting maybe even a thank you in return in some instances. But if you take that hard work and that creativity and put it into the right channel, whether that's developing a hobby or starting a training school or something, then you'll be able to maybe get a little bit more of a reward into the hard work you put in. So again, we're all the community. The first step, reach out to someone, ask them, how did you start? If there's someone who's in a job that you're interested in, simply reach out. What do we have? Facebook, X, Instagram, so many different ways to send a message to somebody. Put together a nice, kind message. Let someone know who you are, and kindly ask them maybe their perspective. And if anything, they may give you a push in the right direction. But that would be my insight into kind of things that I've experienced in my time here.
That was awesome.
We hear a lot of the same sentiment, like from wrestlers too. Like, hey, just show up and be willing to listen and learn, like,
and work.
Not be selfish, as you said. Like, it's a team thing. It's not really you thing. I enjoyed, like, today you kind of put it more into like the team perspective and instead of focusing on individual stuff. And that was one thing I really learned today. So that was good to hear.
Oh my goodness. We did that. We did the whole damn thing. I didn't even know if you were going to stay with us for 2, let alone 2.5 hours. Thank you so much for that. The difficulty is it's a little later at night. So sometimes our guests can get a little sleepy, especially on the East Coast, but you're on Central. So you're of course not tired at all.
Yeah. Oh, how funny. No, I just have to work at 4 Pacific.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's already
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Long live GCW. Okay. See you later, guys.
Yeah. So what I'll do,
guys, I appreciate it.
What I'll do is I'll just go down the upcoming shows. We'll go ahead and say goodbye, and then once we go off the air, we'll say goodbye with you, Perch. So I'll go ahead and go through these quick. We'll get them rolling here so we can get you out of here. Because we did it. Okay, well, you know how it is. I can talk forever. Brant can generally talk forever sometimes. So. All right, so our upcoming shows this week. We have Thursday, July 18th, GCW's Believe Me from Headliners Music Hall in Louisville, Kentucky. We have Mance Warner versus Myron Reed. The team of Gage and Too Tough Tony versus the Rejects. Billy Starks versus Rachel Ellering. Hoodfoot versus Broski Jimmy. Effie versus SRS, Sean Ross Sapp. Shane, I don't know what the hell is going on there. We will find out. Shane Mercer versus Webb. Nate Webb's going to be there. Masha Slamovitz versus Cole Radrick in his, oh no, I was going to say his home territory. This isn't the Indiana show. All right, on to Friday, July 19th, GCW So High from Pop's Nightclub in Sauget, Illinois. We have Mance Warner versus Hoodfoot, Sydney Akeem versus Myron Reed, Janella Suss versus the team of Blake and Mercer, Masha versus Danhausen, Desperados versus Bang Brothers that are not banging no more. Manders versus Broski, Mother Father versus the Rejects. Our last show will be Saturday, July 20th. GCW Don't Tell Me What to Do from Marriott East in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is Ratty Daddy Country. We have Mance Warner versus Megan Bain. Myron Reed versus Jack Cartwheel, Nate Webb versus Broski Jimmy, Mother Father versus Blake and Mercer, the Rejects versus Cole and Manders, and there will be appearances by Matt Cardona and Zilla Fatu. So that makes for a 3-banger of a weekend. That's a lot of note taking for you and I, Brant. Was there anything else?
Thursday.
Yeah, that's
the
like, surprise here. It made me check my calendar twice.
Yeah. One other cool thing, great one wants to say, and I do want to mention it too. Matt Hardy debuting in GCW here soon. I think it was for the Cleveland show, August 2nd. That's going to be a fun one. Brett's taking suggestions on who should face Matt Hardy. So hit him up on X, Brett Lauderdale, or Game Changer, and send him your suggestions on who should face Matt Hardy in his GCW debut.
Did you give any names?
I said Danhausen.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Jeez, I'm the one who.
I just thought like good character versus character. Like I don't even want in ring. I just want to see that. I want to see the deleted universe and Danhausen kind of. Yeah. I want to see those two worlds collide in GCW. I want to see how that kind of works out in the ring.
And me being the way I am, I went, give it to a veteran. We need someone who can, stay with the speed of Matt Hardy. So, the guys who really earned it are your veterans. So Janela, Effie, Mance,
I want to see a young cat. So. I want to see young cats in there with him.
That's what I'm curious about. Okay. Yeah, that is everything, sir and sir. We did it.
Perch, yes, thank you so much for all your time. Like we said, 2 hours and 40 minutes. I came in thinking this was going to be a very intriguing and thought-provoking podcast, and you definitely exceeded my expectations for sure, and definitely learned a lot, and definitely want to have you back on more. Like we have, I have a bunch more questions I could definitely ask you after learning everything that we did today. So thank you very much for your time and for coming on here with your busy schedule.
Oh yeah, guys! Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it. Again, just having the opportunity to talk about the school that I'm a part of, and the world we're a part of, and the company Game Changer Wrestling. My God, it's the best. The GCW World Tour. Been traveling the world, bringing the best professional wrestling to everybody, enhancing the fan experience all across the globe, giving everybody something to talk about, something to tell their friends about, and something to watch. Really just incredible. So thank you guys for keeping it going strong the whole time through.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, man. We do appreciate you a lot. There was more that came out of this, and I already knew we were going to get a lot out of this. So appreciate that a lot. All right, we want to close them out, and then we'll see we'll see Perch on the other side there.
Any last things you want to promote, Perch, before we leave? Give you a last
guys. Want to say a couple of things. Shout out to Off the Rope. Good homie out there in Ohio. We'll be seeing him down in Indiana this weekend. So he's doing great things, amazing art and T-shirts, and great work, taking his favorites from wrestling and anything in life and putting it through, creating good stuff. Want to send our love out to Jordan Oliver, good homie, great student of the game, good brother, and send our best, our love, our support. He is such a strong-willed man. He gives it everything he's got every time, and we know that he's going to work hard to come back even stronger. And we just got to continue to show our support, everybody, the pro wrestling community as a whole, coming together to support our favorites. And much love to Jordan Oliver right here, as he's battling to come back stronger through his post-surgery as it's approaching.
And I believe he will be having a whatnot session. I think it's tomorrow or Thursday night. So if fans want to check that out, another way to support him, buying some cool merch that he'll be selling in there and stuff like that. I will definitely be on there. My wife will be on there, even in California. We're going to be doing two separate things. We might be buying the same thing at the same time, but we're going to be auctioning against each other.
That's what I was thinking.
Shit. I just thought about that. We're going to have to coordinate. But yeah, we'll be on there. Show support for Jordan and buy some cool merch. And that's another outlet. I did want to shout out to another way to support Jordan throughout this injury and time away from the ring.
And the last bit is support all of our friends, wrestling community, family, friends, everybody out in Houston. We just played there for Game Changer Wrestling a couple weeks ago. I had the most amazing time out there in Houston, Texas. And to hear that they're going through tough times and the weather and the hurricane,
Yeah.
incredible. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody out there. Just seeing the land and to understand, what they must be going through. The weather out there. We drove through some parts of Houston where they had meters where it showed, rain accumulation, and it was
Yeah.
at 0 because it was dry when we were there. And even seeing the number 1 or 2 filled up was so scary. And to know
Yeah.
that everyone out there is going through tough times, and just my thoughts and prayers are with them continuously through, Houston, Texas, and Houston strong. Send our love to everybody out there.
Very
Yes.
well said.
And I think I'm going to have to start using this hashtag celebrate pro wrestling a lot more here, because we learned a lot just about the love of pro wrestling that you have, Perch. And I think that's same. We think we all got the same love, but I think you now motivated me to sit there and express it more and do different venues and different ways. So I do appreciate that. And I will get that hashtag trending out there. Celebrate pro wrestling.
Love creates love.
Yeah.
All right, let's send him out of here. And yeah, we have a busy weekend.
I want to also mention to the listeners, and quite a few of you have been around a long time. Yesterday, 2 years ago, was Brant and I's first episode together. So we have officially been in this together for 2 years straight. 2 years we have been banging on GCW. So
thank you for putting up my bullshit, John. And yes, banging on the doors of Brett and everyone else to get to get our name out there and get the GCW out there and promoted to everyone out there.
And catch us this weekend in Louisville Thursday, St. Louis at Pops Friday, and in Indianapolis, Indiana on Saturday. GCW Midwest Tour 2024.
I think we got the title of our next week's podcast right there. GCW Midwest Tour 2024. I like it. Thank you again, Perch, for all your time and information. That was wonderful. And yes, thank you all listeners hanging out here. I know I had my dad and my wife in here. Great one. Jeffrey Young, Fire J stopping in again, showing us some love. Thank you again, everyone. Frank, I forgot Frank. Yeah.
Holy moly. Yeah. All right. Well, we did it. You ready to go?
I missed all these Twitter things.
Oh, I've been at
the beginning. I just seeing them all now. Oh, nice. Yes. All right. Let's get them out of here. Sorry. So we don't have Perch waking up too late.
We always screw this up. You ready?
We always get it right. I don't know what you're talking about. I do, at least. Long.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Live.
Oh.
G. C. You first.
W.
Have a good night.